call the board of village board of trustees to order. Stand for the pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Roll call by clerk.
Maloney.
Here.
Cronin.
Here.
Ermeling. Here. Hardinger.
Present.
Pincinel.
Present.
Wyland. Here. Sagami.
Here. All right, public comments. Any public comments tonight? Anything online? I have no sheets of paper. There's candy in the back. That's my public comment. If somebody wants a treat. I know you would for us. Oh, my God. I know. Thank you. You're gonna get a beacon or something, right? Oh my God. I have a note here that has an arrow. It works for us. So, so all right, so the hearing of public comment. Minutes from previous meetings, 4 and 5. Approval of June 17, 2024. Board of Trustees meeting and approval of June 24th, 2024 special Board of Trustees meeting. What's your pleasure? Motion to approve by Ermeling. Second by Zagami. Point of order, Mr. President. What are we approving? What is the motion?
Motion to approve the June 17, 2024 Board of Trustees meeting and a motion and the June 24th, 2024 special Board of Trustees meeting.
Which I read, but you're gonna do this all night? So you just want me to repeat it or what?
Yeah.
Is that what you want? Yep. Every single time?
Yes.
Okay, you got it. Let's see, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Acknowledge the reports and minutes from boards, committees, and commissions.
Motion to acknowledge items number 10, 13, 14, and 15.
By Cronin. Second. By Pincinel. So the motion on the floor is that we're acknowledging reports, minutes from boards, committees, and commissions. Number 10, Finance and Human Resources. 13, Plan Commission. 14, Public Works. And 15, Tourism Commission. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Mr. Weston?
Aye.
Yes.
I think there was also minutes from Parks and Rec. I think they came into the packet late, but they were also.
If they're not blue, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm this here. I'm old. I use paper. When I get into the nitty gritty of it, then like right now it's still on tourism, so now I'll do the DOT. And let's see if it's blue. Yep, it's blue. My mistake.
Did the vote happen yet?
Yes.
I still amend the motion, or do we
Yes.
have to make a separate motion?
You can amend. Amend.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, we'll do a second one.
Yes.
Do a second one. All right, all those in favor of the first one, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Now it's come to my attention that we have a blue for number 12, Parks and Recreation on the computer. And what is your pleasure?
Motion to approve reports, minutes from boards, committees, commissions, item number 12, Parks and Recreation.
By Cronin? Second. Second by Pincinel. So we have a motion on the floor to acknowledge reports from the Park and Rec Commission. Moved by Cronin, second by Pincinel. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Reports from departments. Number 17, Administrator.
My report was in the packet. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Nothing for me. Anybody else? I heard we had 3 balloons go up on Thursday night.
Yes.
Pretty cool. That's good. Number 18, Clerk. Anything more for
Nothing
Ann
to
to
add.
add or
If
any
anybody has
questions?
any questions, I can answer.
Okay.
I would add one thing for Madam Clerk, and that is there
Madam
is
Clerk?
there is a non-dog
It's what?
stray report in there. And you can see that in that agreement that we have with the Humane Society, again, dogs are included. Any non-dog strays is what that agreement is for. And there was 6 cats and 8 mice, all of which are on the website and those mice and cats.
Wow, from you?
Yeah.
Seriously, from you?
From me.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
I read that.
Not all animals are equal. Right? You actually said that out loud. Wow. I have several mice as pets. So. No, Michael Jackson. What a great show we had. All right. You don't remember? Nobody's old like me that understands that show. Michael Jackson had a movie with rats. Are you kidding? I'm looking around the room. I don't see any of my age.
Well, I don't know all of my
Yeah.
Jackson, so
I will, that'll come up next month and I'll have it under. Wow.
Michael, could we Google that?
You'll find it right away. It's called, what? All right, so clerks, I am completely flustered, 19 finance.
It's called Ben.
What?
It's called Ben.
Ben, hello, all right, come on, bring it my way, let's go, Ben. I gotta even had a song, very much hit signal. Weird. I got goosebumps right now just thinking about that. So nothing on finance? Thank you, Jessica. Fire and EMS, chief?
A report in the packet. The only thing I would have to add is right before I left the office today, we did get a resignation from one of our full-time firefighters that is taking a job outside of fire and EMS, or at least kind of a sideline to fire and EMS in Grafton. The good news is that we are interviewing for a current open position that we have tomorrow. We have 3 solid applicants, so hopefully we can find 2 people out
Oh,
of that.
true, yeah. Grafton's next area. So, okay. You want to expound a little bit, since we could do this here on the safer meeting, which I forgot to put in there. So, the safer meeting, we accepted the petition, union position.
Yes, so we do have an approved union contract in place that goes through 2026. Parts of that contract are in place now. The main meat of the contract does not go into effect until the 1st of 2025.
Okay. All right. And then we had a little talk about collecting money.
Yep, we're working, we are having some issues with our current billing company that we're working through. I do have a meeting set up with them. It's either Thursday or Friday of this week. He did reach out to me today to set up a meeting with upper management with the new company. And then I also have a web meeting with a different billing agency on Friday of this week that was recommended by a different local department that they're currently using and have had good luck with. So I'll report back to the safer board when I have some more information about that. But our current contract with our current billing agency expires at the end of this year. So if we do want to leave, we can.
Right. Thank you. 21, Parks and Rec. You online? No?
Just if there are any questions.
Okay. Yes, sure.
Like right from the administrator?
Yes, please.
What's the ETA on the Sandhill playground?
So we're gonna have to do some dewatering. Every time they put in holes, they get filled with water, so we brought it up, I think 1.5 feet. So that was done this last week, and now we are just waiting for the company to come back to see if that works. And otherwise, we will institute some sort of dewatering in the hole so they can get the concrete in them.
Jim?
Yeah, so the report stated that we're still waiting on parts. They were 3 weeks out, and that was 3 weeks ago. Is that not correct?
I believe we have all of the parts for Sandhill. We are still waiting on parts for Kennedy. We are mostly complete on that, but I know those items got shipped to the company. I don't know if they've arrived to us.
Sure. Thank you. Okay.
And then, is there any update on the meeting with the G. Morty and Friendly County Park of the status of fundraising or any goals that they have, or do they have funds raised already?
It's gonna be a focal point for the next parks meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Did Michael, you have something?
I was just gonna say, I believe the Sandhill Park, they were gonna be coming back into town tomorrow to look at that, so, it's good to go, it should be, you can, good to move on.
Yeah, what was the aquatic center update?
There's 3 bullet points on the following page.
Oh,
Okay. All right, 22, plan development, Jen?
I have a report in the packet if there are any questions.
Any questions? None? All right, thank you. Let's see, police. Chief or captain?
So,
Chief?
we have a report in the packet regarding the stat sheet. However, in the report, the accidents, warnings, and citations are not 100% accurate. Like warning says 0 road warnings, but our current record management system is not pulling citations in. We have worked with City County IT, and Laserfish will be going live this Thursday, so we're able to pull all those stats. Otherwise, in June, we had a couple events, I guess in June into July, that we were a part of. One was a meet and greet event at Sam's Pizza. And then the other, we had an officer as part of the Lights of Christmas event, which a whole bunch of officers kind of caravan from Green Bay and ended at Iowa Car Show. We also started work on the Halloween party, although we had to change our venue, so we're still in the planning stages for October for the Halloween party. Other than that, we gave a conditional offer to an individual, so we're looking forward to that process and getting someone started eventually.
Yeah, I got a couple things to add. We had alcohol compliance checks last week. I understand they haven't been done for a long period of time in Weston. That's with the Alcohol Coalition out of North Central Healthcare Facility. They have checks through there. Letters were sent out prior to the checks. So we had 2 violations in Weston, 1 violation in Rothschild, and I don't have the number on how many establishments were checked yet, but we went to every gas station and started with that. So if there's any complaints, just send them my way. I can educate them.
Grocery stores too?
What's that?
Grocery stores too?
We do those as well.
Okay, good.
I can't say if they were checked on this last
Oh, okay.
fall. We'll be doing them again here in about 6 months or so. We did have the hiring process, and we did promote 2 people. Nathan Zulke, he was a Rothschild officer. He was a sergeant. He got promoted to detective. He starts August 1st. And then Alexis Meyer, she was a patrol officer that came over from Everest Metro, and she'll start January 1st in that position. So we'll have 4 detectives on staff. Finally seeing some numbers on municipal court. In the future, we'll talk about that coming up, but municipal court's going good and elections look really good. So I'm pretty happy with how the court's coming in. So I know that's one of the things that you don't hear a lot about is the municipal court, but we see them every day and talk to them. So everything looks good in there.
Money rolling in. An oversight board meeting that Jim and Jamie are joining me on last week, and went really well. And then we have another one this week at 4 o'clock on Wednesday, a scheduled one. So here, anyone's welcome to. They're all open to the public. So
one thing to add in the oversight board, they wanted a survey of the police department. That survey did go out today. Thank you to Jamie for getting everything ready. So that went out today. It'll be at the end on Friday by noon. So then we'll push the results out out.
good. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Public Works 24. Michael.
I guess the Jellinek Avenue project, the first layer of asphalt is projected to go down now Wednesday this week. So, you know, had a couple people complaining about the dust on the road, but also, you know, there's a lot of traffic and people using the road, even though it says it's closed, you know, local traffic only. But hopefully with that getting wrapped up here in the next week or so, people will have a nice new road to use there. And then, let's see, the Weston Avenue project, east of X to Von Kennel, integrity grading kind of has indicated a late August, probably early September, start on that one, to get that half mile from X to Von Kennel taken care of.
Good question.
Yeah.
Don't hate me. I did drive through there.
Yep.
Yesterday, I noticed there was some pretty significant washout under some existing curbing that you may want to address.
Yeah, and they were taking care of that today. That was
Okay.
part of the.
I mean, it was a fair amount. I don't know if you were out there or not.
Yeah, with the kind of flash flood we had on Saturday night. Construction sites are the worst because the drains are already 6 inches higher or so than the rest of the roadway. So for the water to build up high enough to get up there, especially coming down hills to try to get there, causes some problems. I know Schofield Ave, parts of Ross Avenue, were underwater for a little while. So Inner Springs was, yeah, that's.
Okay. Good. Any questions? Technology, Jake?
Only item I have to add, found out after that one of the storms that had some lightning strikes nearby that audio processing unit. Our audio processing unit for the boardroom here took a hit. So we're looking at the warranty options to replace it. we have a good surge protector on there, but the thought process is that it probably travels through Cat 6 cable. So we're limping through tonight's meeting with just a microphone here that is on the table.
I see the cord.
So I'll have more on that. Supposed to talk with Campbell Corner Connecting Point Wednesday this week to get an update. So
Okay. So I have a question between you and Michael, so I'm gonna ask it right now. I was at the stoplight at Schofield Avenue and X today, and a white DOT truck was sitting there on the corner, and he was taking pictures of a pole that has like a 3 times high coffee can up on top of it, just capped over the pole. What is that?
is it on the?
Isn't that the block camera?
That's what I was gonna say. I think that's
Seriously?
block.
The DOT does the clock camera?
Those are broadband,
That's what?
those are broadband phones.
Oh, broadband? Okay.
They
It's
have
just
one
a
right-
pole
they have-
going up
Yeah,
with a metal sleeve, like a big coffee can that fits the pole.
they have one right in front of,
I can't describe it either, but.
yeah, they have one right in front of Palm Supper Club, and I stopped one day when they were working on it, just to see what it is, and it's a broadband.
That's what that is. There you go.
How was your cameras?
Block is by Dunkin' Donuts and Walgreens.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, excuse me, what is it?
That's what the block cameras, they
Oh.
read license plates.
And it's up in the air somewhere or what?
Nope, they're in the right of way, kind of on a pole.
Okay. Very interesting. Okay. Now you don't wanna be on a black. That you don't wanna do, Jim.
I will confirm the calculators do work.
Oh, on just his, right? You only.
No, I only checked this one.
Because it was like $7 a piece. So
I would encourage you to click on the little calculator icon of the application. For a little, probably verify it all. I move to acknowledge 17 through 25 on the agenda contract.
Motion by Pincinel,
Second.
second by Cronin.
Mr. President, just before there's a vote, just again, in going through Robert's Rules of Order, it's most appropriate if you adopt, accept, or agree to the reports rather than acknowledge, because that's for acknowledging their receipt and you've already received.
I'm gonna do a staff referral right now, and I want Robert's Rules of Order on the next meeting to be canceled. I am not gonna do this for, I mean, I'm not you, but anybody else here. I'm just not gonna play it, so. Okay, so what do we have to do again?
I would,
Adopt? What?
since we have a motion and a second, if both the motion and the second would agree to say that adopt, accept, or agree instead of acknowledge, that would be.
But we have reports, oh, okay. So maybe we should just put that in the heading too, right? Okay, cool. Well, we're learning.
Point of order. So adopt.
Point of order, so you're reading Robert's Rules?
No,
too?
no,
Oh, okay.
I've been.
Who told you to say that?
2.5 years.
Okay.
So one of the reasons that we use acknowledge instead of adopt, accept, and receive is because adopt, accept, and receive is transferring any sort of difference in, like, the police report, it may or may not be 100% correct. We're acknowledging it because we're receiving it, but I'm not, yes, it's correct, or it's not correct. I've just received it, that's all it is. And that's why we usually go with acknowledge. Not that we're, you understand, like, I'm not verifying that document's authenticity. I'm just saying I've received it.
And if that's what you would prefer, you could make that a standing rule to say that you acknowledge reports instead of adopt, accept, or receive.
The whole board would, yeah.
Yeah.
So just because the county says it doesn't mean it's right.
Well, no, but I'm just, yeah,
I agree with you are correct,
so
and we would just need a standing rule to say that.
I'm not trying to play out.
No, it's fine.
You are correct.
Are we in, is there something else tonight?
There was a motion on the floor and it was voted on.
Yeah, okay.
No, I don't think it was voted on. It was
No, we haven't
motion and a
voted on it.
second.
Was it voted on?
It was not.
Please, please, dear God.
For the record, I voted no to Robert's Rules.
Okay, I know you
It was
I know.
6-1.
I am
You're
wrong.
welcome. You asked for
I
it.
know.
You got
I know.
If you prefer to keep the motion, that's also, that's the board's prerogative, and you could put that as a standing rule, because that's later on in the agenda. But that would be, that you are acknowledging the.
But you had a motion second, let's put it in.
And that was-
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
For a motion to acknowledge.
To the motion to acknowledge. Let this nice be done quickly here. Work product transmittal, 26, acknowledge June building permits, and 27, acknowledge June budget status. Carrie, did you make the right decision? Coming here? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
It's gonna get better, trust me. We'll get this thing closed out here.
I move to acknowledge items 26 June building permits and 27 June budget status.
I'll second that.
A motion to acknowledge June building permits and acknowledge June budget status by Cronin and seconded by Ermeling was made. All those, any more on the discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Consent agenda. All is one, or
Move to approve 29 and 30 concurrently.
motion by Pincinel to move concurrently 29 and 30, approve vouchers and appointment of Taylor Stankowski.
Second.
Made second by Cronin. All those, any more in the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Opposed?
So carried. Ordinances, ordinance 24-008, an ordinance amending section 78.103, parent 3, entitled Weston Tourism Commission. It's a pleasure. Jim?
Move to amend ordinance 24-004 as presented to make line B, paragraph I read, 3 members shall constitute a quorum if the commission consists of 4 or 5 members. If 6 members make up the commission, 4 members present constitute a quorum. Reference page 160 in the packet.
Okay. Motion by Pincinel, second by Wyland. Any more of the discussion?
I have a question. I just want to confirm, so what is gonna be the number of members on the committee? Because the agenda item, you had asked for 7, but I don't think that's allowed.
Well, I don't know, the email I saw today, is, can we have 7, or do we need to go to 5?
You can have between 4 and 6.
Okay.
This,
so-
and this amendment would adjust our ordinance to reflect statute, and it would say you could have between 4 to 6.
Okay.
Which is why we struck what a quorum would be, because of, depending on if you had 4 to 6 members, a quorum would be a majority.
Okay. So tonight, then I'll pull somebody off. Under my appointees, or does it have to be unappointees? Can it be under appointees? Can I go negative, or can I only go positive?
It's an,
Oh,
either
no,
way,
it's
it's onto the tourism commission, which is on the agenda, so I think you could,
unselected.
they are your prerogative, subject to
Mhm.
confirmation.
Okay. All right.
But just for clarification, trustee Pincinel's motion would add in 2 sentences then
Yep.
on what is quorum based on whether there was 4 to 6 members.
Okay. So that's what we're voting on what the quorum basis is on 4 or 5. Any more questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 33, ordinance 24-009, an ordinance amending sections 50.102, property maintenance code 50.103, loud, disturbing noises prohibited, and 50.104, chronic nuisance premises. What's your pleasure, Jim, or Mr. Trustee Pinson? Okay.
I vote to defer action by the board on this agenda item and direct staff to amend ordinance 24-009 as presented with the following changes. In page 168, letter I, reword public safety committee. On page 185, letter I, strike the word blind and replace it with a more appropriate, less ableist term.
Okay, that's it. That's all. Who brought 33 to staff?
I brought it to fix,
Okay.
basically it was to fix, because it was referencing everything.
So by what you're
That's
doing,
a point of order. There's a motion on the floor without a second.
okay,
I'll second.
second by Ermeling. Now on the question. So are you postponing this? Or are we fixing it right now?
Excellent. So 2 things. One, what is the Weston Public Safety Committee? Because that's called out in here, and I don't know that you have anyone appointed to it.
Used to a long time ago.
Right, but
I
we
just
don't.
missed it, so I.
and that's
Yeah, it's okay, okay. So it'll probably be dwarfed into the cliffs, but yeah, there
Which
is
is fine.
no such entity, you're right.
And so,
Okay.
yeah, I read all the 329
Okay.
units and it was fantastic, so just asking that to come back next time with that either removed or replaced with clips or whatever it is going to be. I don't know what the intent of that was. I saw all of the police references changed to just police or police chief instead of everything.
Will that hinder any activity in the next month? If it comes back without being approved in it?
No.
It won't, okay, then what's your suggestion for, switching the word?
Perhaps visual impairment, I'm not sure, I just feel like there's a less ableist term available in 2024.
Well, why don't we get that word out right now, so that then when we get to here next month, that we don't all agree.
I agree, but why not just make the change
Yeah.
tonight, approve it so that it's in the
Yeah.
motion and be done with it. I don't see a reason that it needs to come back here.
again?
Yeah.
If you would, why not? Okay, so
Visually.
vision impaired, I like, and then, and we're pulling, public safety out, right? So, do we need to make a new, motion?
You would have to amend the motion that's on the floor.
Oh, so I need an amended motion on the floor. You take a stab
No,
at
I
it?
made a second.
Okay,
Somebody else has to.
Can, we're, just for clarification, what, Jim's talking about is the red line strikes being replaced with the green underline in the following, on the pages following the request for consideration that we're looking at.
I would assume.
As you come scrolling through here, is that 100% correct, or is it some, are there any issues in that?
I found those to be all correct.
Okay.
Page 168, letter or paragraph I, which is the, paragraph I. Says an inspection performed in conjunction with the lawful order of the chairperson of Weston Public Safety Committee.
Okay, so that's not changed, yeah.
Could be
That's
flips,
fine.
right?
It could be clips or
So
something.
that needs to be changed to the.
Yes, okay. And then the, visually impaired added.
Pam, we're good to go.
Okay,
Is that,
You're
but did we
tracking
make a
all those?
motion to amend that?
we need an amended motion.
For the visually impaired.
Go ahead. Nate.
Well, that ending, we're replacing Weston Public Safety Committee with.
I would suggest we are changing chairperson of the Weston Public Safety Committee to Clips Committee. We're not gonna send out the Clips chairpersons to do that.
Correct.
So the motion would be to strike chairperson of the Weston Public Safety Committee and replace with Clips. And to strike blind and replace with visually impaired. You could say I so motion.
I so much.
And
I will second that.
a second by Pincinel. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried on the amendment. Now on the original motion. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 34, ordinance 24-01, Jim?
So we just move to defer action and direct staff to amend that.
Well, no, his original motion.
The original motion was that's why.
Yeah, so now we need a motion to accept.
Yes,
Okay, here we go. Let's do it.
except as amended.
As
Okay.
amended. Yep.
So I will make, go ahead.
Motion to accept that amendment.
By Hardinger,
Second?
second by Pincinel. Any more on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 34, ordinance 24-010, an ordinance to approve the rezoning of 2.299 acres of the parcel known as 9707 Karen Street from AR, agricultural and residential, to RR2, rural residential 2 acre zoning district.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 24-010.
Second, motion by Cronin, second by Pincinel to change or rezone ordinance 24-010. Any more on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Resolutions 35, resolutions 2024-016, a resolution approving official referendum question, language for exceeding the state of Wisconsin levy limits for the purpose of maintaining current fire protection staffing and or services. What's your pleasure.
Motion to.
What are you approving?
As soon as I had it out of my mouth, I went, okay. Motion to approve resolution 2024-016, the resolution approving official referendum question language for exceeding the state of Wisconsin levy limits for the purpose of maintaining current fire protection staffing and service.
So moved by Ermeling,
Second.
second by Hardinger.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, the reason Jim asked is there's underneath the recommended language for official action, there's two different options.
And she went with a different one.
You just approved, she just approved the ordinance, correct?
Yes.
But
Resolution.
we have to decide what we wanna do here. Do you wanna put it on the November ballot or spring?
That's part of that, would not be after the.
And in the RFC from staff, we do put forth some items that we'd like to consider to put this to the spring ballot in 2025.
Spring.
So our recommendation would be that we would delay until spring 2025.
What?
So first, would be that we don't know all of the numbers until August. So even approving the resolution tonight, it's not complete with all of the numbers. We won't have that until August 15th when it's confirmed. Second, once we know it's confirmed in August, we probably only have 55 business days to get out the educational pieces about it, and that's not a long time frame, not impossible, but not an extended time frame. Third, we have the reevaluation this year, and we have some concern that the letter about the reevaluation and that what that means for taxpayers might get confused with the referendum question and what that means for taxpayers. So maybe having some separation between the two would be good. Four, we thought there might be a more substantial cost to having it outside of the fall general. If you have it in the fall general election, it's free. If you have it outside of that, there is a cost, and that's $75. So it's a very reasonable cost from the county clerk. So those were our 4 reasons why we thought maybe allowing some time and having it in the spring would be a better option.
I also remember part of the discussion was the spring election is usually more popular.
The county clerk they've done some statistical analysis on this, that referendums in the fall sometimes aren't as successful.
Okay, good question.
Yes, I would ask that the board delay action as the administrator presented. So that would be a no vote on this current motion. That motion will be lost. And a new motion could be made to delay action, if that's what the board wishes.
Delay action or approve the spring resolution.
So the motion currently is just to please restate the motion, Madam Clerk.
My motion was to approve resolution 2024-016, a resolution approving official referendum question language for exceeding the state of Wisconsin levy limits for the purpose of maintaining current fire protection staffing / services.
I will amend your motion to delay action on the resolution, to delay the resolution exceeding the state of Wisconsin levy limit for the purpose of maintaining current fire protection staffing services until the spring 2025 election.
I will second that.
We have a motion to second on the floor, and these go.
I'm amending that motion.
I'm
amending that motion.
So we have a second now. We have a second by Pincinel. So, all those in favor of the amended motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Now, on the original, right? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, 35 is finished.
I'm sorry, Mr. President, I'm sorry. How's that gonna work with you? As far as where your staffing is at and everything, we talked briefly last meeting about where your budget numbers and everything at. Having this resolution part of bridging that gap. Having a fall election versus spring election versus the statistical improvements of success. I mean, how does that actually fare with SAFER?
So basically, we would stay status quo until the spring election would happen. If that election would have failed, we'd have to make staffing adjustments.
Then,
At
You
that
can
point,
you can make it work between now and then.
oh yeah.
Okay, that's.
All right.
So, Mr. President, on the motion, on the amendment that passed, on the original motion, you would vote no because they're contradictory. So I'm not sure if the second, same thing as with the previous motion. The first motion was to approve it happening for fall. So I'm not, I'm,
Did I do fall?
I thought that.
I think it just said to approve the language, right?
That's what I heard too,
Yeah.
but I amended it to ask for this.
okay,
Yeah, I just approved the resolution. I did not-
Right. yeah, we-
okay. So the resolution likely will still have to come back to you once the final numbers are inputted into it, which will be prior to it going to the ballot.
Okay, we're good? Okay, that's just good. 36. Unfinished business, discussion and or action on village board of trustees compensation. I have done nothing with that. If I was supposed to, I wasn't sure. I thought we were gonna talk about stipends and stuff like that.
So would you, before you have a motion on the floor, would you like me to elaborate on what's in the packet?
Sure.
Okay. So I did contact the League of Wisconsin municipalities, and I do have the comparison just for our surrounding municipalities, both for president or mayor position and trustee. And then the league's most current information is July 30th, 2019 that they have. So there's, I think 14 pages of other municipalities in the state and what their current rates are for their chief elected official, if that's mayor or president, and trustee. I did ask the question also of the league about approving the percentage, so I know it came up at the last meeting. Could the raise for the 2 years be the same as the percentage that's given to staff? And the answer is no, because you don't know that number, and you need to be able to say what that number is when people take out papers. So you could say that it's a 3% increase year over year, because that number could be calculated, but you couldn't say that it's tied to staff wages, because you don't know the second year. So you wouldn't be able to give candidates a solid number when they take out papers. So if the board would like to take action, we can bring it back up again as we go through budget process, but this was to give you a comparison of where our neighbors are and where a number of municipalities are in the state with wages for positions.
So,
Go ahead.
Really, we're supposed to have a motion for that discussion.
well, she's given her,
So
staff report of.
do we have a motion?
I will make a motion to move forward with the current salaries as they are.
I'll second.
We have a second by Cronin, a motion by Cronin to leave the salaries as they are, and a second by Ermeling on the discussion.
So the reason that I'm making that, I think in light of us going to referendum for the fire department right now, I don't think now is really the best time to look at taking out additional money for us. I just don't. I do think that to some extent for us being here for, I don't know, 36 meetings a month, I think we're paid pretty well for that, to be honest with you. So
A year.
a year, I'm sorry. But that's the reason for that.
I was gonna say you're busy person.
Yeah, 36 meetings a month.
I can break it down further than that. It's more than 36 pages of time, emails, your weekends, went through 350 pages. It's a lot. Taking phone calls is a lot more than just.
And I agree with you, but when you look at the statistical data that Jamie put in here, I mean, we are well above the curve.
And that's to me, like, I would, thank you, Jamie, as always, it was a pretty comprehensive, a lot of information there, but it would have been, I'd helpful just to see just a meeting based on population, just in that summary bam right there, instead of, I'm not thinking, Green Mountain and Schofield. I don't know what the population is, but I know it's not 16,000. So, and I 100% with Jamie, I mean, there's times it's 2-3 meetings a week out here, and that's my sole service. I volunteer to do this job, and I accept that, but yeah, there is quite a bit being a private business owner, that takes away from that. So I'm not sure the cops and firemen get the money. I'm with you, and that's Steve, but yeah, it's a little kick every now and then. It's what
Yeah,
it is.
so, well, I knew the trustees were high. It's a little painful to look at Schofield. Schofield's at 2,000 people. So Rothschild, I think, is Okay, you know, we're at 16, maybe a little more. Red Mountain is, what's Red Mountain?
About 7,000.
Yeah, about 7, yeah. Wausau's 38, 39, somewhere in there, so they're not on here, but. Okay.
What's the council members, would that be something close?
I'm not sure, I know the county board gets what, 4,800? Something like that. So if you were gonna leave one of them, I would assume you would leave county.
I feel like,
Just a tidbit, that's all.
I enjoy being.
Well, we enjoy having. So any more on the discussion? Any more on the discussion? We have a motion on the floor, to leave the trustee and the president's salaries as they are. With no more further, discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
2 nays and 5 nays. Jim, what did you vote? Yes. Okay, yes, okay. Fine, okay. So that's him. 36, new business, 37, discussion and or action on request from ADC Weston LLC, 3200 Schofield Avenue to amend their development agreement. Jim?
Move to defer action until the August 2024 Board of Trustees meeting. In the interim, the developers should not be instructed to make any changes until a decision has been made by the Board of Trustees.
And so we're gonna make them wait a month? Well,
Not going
let's
to
just see if this
make
gets,
them
let's,
wait for a month.
what?
The motion is to not make them do anything for a month. Is there a second?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? So motion dies with no second. Now, I'll read it over. Discussion and or action on request from ABC Weston LLC, 3200 Schofield Avenue to amend their development agreement. Do I have a motion? What's your pleasure, I should say?
I guess I'm not sure, but,
Well, I think in the discussion, Jim will tell us why he wanted to defer.
Can we have a presentation?
I think we have to get on the floor.
So if we want to get it on the floor, I'll make a motion to defer this back to the plan commission to then come back to the board after the plan commission discusses what they.
So kind of what he was doing, no?
He was deferring it to the August board meeting. I would like to defer it to the plan commission.
Okay,
because
all
I
right.
think that's.
So
kind of where it should go.
motion on the floor from trustee Cronin to defer ADC Weston LLC development, to amend their development agreement back to the planning commission the second Monday of August. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Wyler. Now on the discussion.
what, I guess,
Okay.
what is this going to do with their progress, or is this something apparently the planning commission has not seen this change?
No, so what happened was when Travis went out to do the final completion on the project, their site plan does not match for landscaping and the building elevations that were approved by the plan commission and the board in the development agreement. So we're at staff at a standstill. We can't get the completion. They're not meeting the development agreement, and there's TIF money tied to the project.
So, okay,
Okay, then I know how to vote, thank you.
okay, so the elevation and
So the
Landscape.
elevation is basically the back. There's two pieces that were changed. The big change is basically the landscaping. They did a lot of hardscaping, but there is not a lot of landscaping.
okay,
That
and,
was done.
and Michael would chuck that to stormwater as far as like the hardscape versus the softscape.
I don't know.
Or
We
is
didn't talk
that,
about
is that a, Travis, or I'm sorry, Roman? You have what?
Yes,
So,
like Jennifer said, as staff,
Yeah.
we can't approve the site plan because it doesn't match what was approved by this entity.
So what happened?
They're here if you want to ask them.
Gentlemen? Just to get an idea.
Yeah. I'm Andy Adrian, sound like that, I'm the owner of the Adventure Ways CrossFit, working very closely with Jeff Evenhouse on this whole plan. As we started developing the stuff, once we started getting into the landscaping part of it, we found it to be much more attractive. And if you can see some of the pictures that, but putting a lot more hardscaping in there, which is what Jen Higgins referred to, big boulders, big rocks, more rock decorative around there, along with some of the tall grass that's out around the front sign and along the building. As you can see, like that picture right there that's on the screen, that was originally supposed to be a whole bunch of like bushes out front. And we developed it to make it look a little bit more eye appealing and that for the customers as they come in to be able to sit and have something to eat or drink in that, out in that area and enjoy the outdoors. We do have a big overhead door there as well, and we were quite concerned that after the fact, after everything was submitted to you guys, about more and more plants and bushes being, attracting more bugs and everything, and kind of coming into a cafe, and the health department stuff too was concerned with that. Once we started developing along Schofield Avenue and Bird Street, the culvert like that we had to put in, or the ditch for water drainage and everything coming off the parking lot, it's really close to like the lot line where it dips down, so to put a whole bunch of extra landscaping in there, it just didn't seem reasonable or look as nice than just nice grass with that nice dip down into the ditch. And then we get onto city property then as well. And if you look around some of this, I know I read some of the emails coming back from Travis and that too, and stated a lot of things that we're missing. And the grass needs time to grow for one thing. This is only first like 2 months of the whole process. We planted 5 trees in there with 3 trees already on the property. There's 8 and only 2 were required. We added just a lot more quality, let's say, into the appearance compared to just random bushes and big areas of bushes to possibly die or, you know, harder to maintain, where this is gonna look nice for 20 years or so compared to bushes. In 2-3 years, it's gonna be overgrown, possibly not looking as nice, just like a lot of other places in the area. So we just took it upon ourselves to also budget 15,000 or so for landscaping, and we went 38,000 in additional things, spent more money on those big rocks. I think it looks a lot nicer and stuff too, just with that, but that's what we're asking you guys to kind of see and realize what we did and why we did it that way. And it just kind of changed plans a little bit as we were developing the building. Things kind of just changed, and it just, you know, it looked so much nicer with that. You know, and
Well, thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
that's all.
And you know, driving by it, it's a very attractive site, you guys done a very nice job with it. So I guess my question is, because there were changes made in the original developer agreement, because there's TIF money involved with it, and it wasn't pre-approved, when they made these changes, why it's not that house?
Correct.
Okay.
They were told that if they.
But there's,
made
it's
any
not
changes-
impeding your business.
No, it's all open, we just can't close out the file, just can't give any.
Okay, so if this goes to the planning commission, it's not gonna impede your business whatsoever for the next 22 or 2 or 3 weeks?
No, it won't impede our business, it just impedes the
Well, yeah,
owner
yeah,
getting
yeah.
TIF money
Right.
for everything else he has invested in it right now.
How much is it, are we talking? $150,000.
Quite a bit.
You're talking 115,
Yeah, it's
150,000.
I mean, you're gonna just hate me for saying this, but I think this looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's great.
You know, we have so much control and so much this and so much that. If this was a bunch of gravel and some stubby grass like we have out here for the last year, that we're still trying to get fixed, yeah, I'd have a big problem, but that's beautiful. And, I can't believe government, including us, has to have their hands in all this stuff all the time. I know it was approved, they probably should have came and said, can we do this? We would have said no. But, right there, that picture right there, $1 million.
Yeah, no, I think it looks great.
Yeah, and you know, so case in point, the apartments, right before Quick Trip on the south side. Those apartments with all those water holes, that we can collect all the damn water we get in the whole world. And we've got 78 trees sitting there, all perfectly put out there. Half of them are dead. Some have all the little tree stuff coming up off the bottom. Nobody's taking care of it. That's just so incredibly unappealing. And then right there, that's beautiful. That is so over the top from what I thought that was gonna be. And that metal, that industrial look would have never passed 15, 20 years ago. We would have been boo-hooing that and screaming bloody murder. Oh my God, what are they doing? When Gary put that building out there on 29, that's a beautiful building. It makes the better building look way worse, you know. Jim, you got a question?
Yeah, so it's stated in the packet that changing this is unprecedented and there's no, and this is uncharted waters. I would kind of disagree, I believe
Tommy Docks, was another tip funded project with a development agreement, that was amended. We did lessen the landscape, requirements for that due to site conditions, kind of after the fact that were experienced during construction. Especially that pond, we didn't want it to look like that apartment with all of that trees around it or all of that shrubs and jeffers. So I don't think it's unprecedented or uncharted, that we would take action on this. I think the property does look amazing and all the money. But if there's, we have all these issues outside of this building and we never held our money. We paid up all our bills. We have nothing sitting there, right? And we have, it looks like hell out there. It's horrible. People are complaining about it all the time. That it's been a year and it looks like hell. And yet, here, this one here doubles his and goes here. So anyway, Jim, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
That's okay. So the property looks amazing. It sounds like there's intent to build a building on the north side, and their entire landscape plan showed stuff there. But obviously, if you start planting trees and grass and stuff where that is, you're gonna wreck it all when you build that other building. You have to have some place to stage your construction materials and build that other building, right? It's already gonna be tight to continue to run those businesses and build this other building at the same time, but I'm sure they're gonna make it work. They're great people. There's a ton of information relating to this topic that I had asked Administrator Gabriel for work that was received, I don't know, 6 hours ago, and I've been in this boardroom since 4 p.m. So I surely didn't get a chance to review hundreds of pages from some of these other similar projects. I think the direction I take tonight should be similar for all of these projects. They're all on Schofield Avenue. They all relate to a TIP funding project. I think we should fund it, but I think whatever decision that we make, we need to stay consistent and do the same thing for all of these projects. So if we say, hey, these guys, you know what, it looks good, even though it's not quite exactly what you built, bring back an updated plan. I will tell you on my project, I had no TIP funding, but I had to come back a lot of times. One of them was, and I brought back, hey, you know, I changed the rain or sport or reveal, whatever it was, on my parapet by like 8 inches because it physically couldn't get built the way that it was on the print. The engineer shows it should be built like this, and not, those engineers aren't always right. We didn't have material to make it that way, so we had to make it 8 inches longer, whatever it was. Nobody knows the difference. You're not gonna see 8 inches from the street, but the flavor was still there. It's the same.
So I would suggest that you send back the plan commission with some guidance. Basically, this is against code right now, so that, I mean, we have to follow code. So if you're wanting more of something like this, then the plan commission needs to look at the code, because
I think we do.
we as staff have to follow the code.
But
All we're asking for is a revised plan. If you are okay with this, because we need to have it on file also, because this comes up, you know, 10 years down the road from now, you guys might ask for it, or somebody on this board, or new owners of the site. We need to have what was there and what was approved.
I think Barbara's.
Yeah, can hand up the form and go up.
Oh, Jen had it like this. I remember doing this in 4th grade.
Okay, I think also it should be referred back to the planning commission. It looks good, but we're gonna be setting a precedent that this board is going to just bypass the planning committee and do our own thing, which we've done in the past, but I don't think it's a good thing to do. And how do we know we're setting a precedent in that somebody else could go along and just go ahead and do their own thing, and then maybe it isn't gonna look as nice as this. And they're gonna say, well, yeah, but that was okay for so-and-so. I just think it should go back to planning and then let them take it from there. And if we have to change ordinances or whatever, that's fine. But this is what our ordinance says right now. That's my.
Excuse me, Steve. Sorry, call me Shirley.
Barb pretty much said it.
Okay.
But, okay, so I understand they doubled up with their landscaping, and I completely agree, like, we gotta give you guys some direction. You can't just say, we're good with what's going on.
Well,
But it's,
the plan was completely different than
right,
this. Hardscaping is allowed, it just doesn't get as
right.
common values.
And and it starts with bad values, and one of the reasons that we're even involved in this conversation is because it's a TIF project.
It's
Otherwise,
because
what
the
do you-
plan looked nothing like the
Right.
one that was submitted. They had reevaluated it, and
And
it was not installed.
And I agree that there definitely should have been some conversation there as far as that implemented law. I'm not disagreeing with that, but if they paid twice what their original budget was on one part of it, are we really gonna ask them for another 40% of additional materials on the building side of it? Is my only
That is
concern.
totally up to you guys.
But
We're
I-
just
that-
bringing it in
yeah.
front of you that this was not what you approved.
So hardscaping is, Ross Avenue and X, those 4 islands. 2 are cemented in pink or whatever, coral.
So,
The other 2 are green, like the football field.
so like if
that hardscape?
somebody
Is that
uses a planting bed, they don't get it to planting points.
But is that a
The
hardscape?
trees are.
Is that a hardscape? But the hardscape is so much more maintainable. If I would still have been at Pick and Save or 29 Super, I would have fought like crazy for all the curbing, the incredible extra plowing in all the trees. Out there by Amazon, they've got tons of money, but I don't know who's gonna water all those plants out there. I just have no clue who's gonna handle all that. And then we've got all this stuff going on. We've got maintenance people out there cutting lawns all over the place to the point that we have to hire Riverside to come and do our grass all over the place, especially by the roundabout and the kayak launch. And that should all be hardscape. So if that means that we have to change our ordinances, in my one opinion on this board, I think we should. Because I think we're putting too much maintenance, too much time. We don't even know what our budget is for cutting the lawn. And we're getting way off topic, and it's my fault. It's my fault. So going back, right now on the floor, it's going back to the planning. I apologize that the money is gonna get to you sooner, but that's where this board is directing it to go. And I think, any more in the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. So it's a 6-1 vote. I said it out loud. Okay. There we are. Beautiful building though. And by the way, great write-up. Not often do we get good write-ups from city pages, and you had a great write-up in there. Really, really nice. So, good stuff. Except we are gonna argue with Brian about our growth, right? We gotta set them straight. We have a lot of great growth here, including you guys. Let's see, 38, discussion and or action on notice of claim received from Crane Metals LLC, 8103 Weston Avenue. Is somebody here for this? Yep, okay. Where are we going here?
You want to put a motion on the floor?
Yeah. Yep. Anybody have a motion to go?
I'll move motion to forward the notice of claim for Crane Metal LLC to the village insurance carrier.
Motion by Zagami, for accepting the notice of claim received from Crane Metals LLC, 8103 Weston Avenue, for insurance. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Ermeling. Now on the discussion. On the discussion, go ahead, use your hand.
Technically, Shane would go first, he's the, he made the motion.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You have nothing to say? Fair enough.
Well, that's the standard procedure. We send it to the insurance company, let them take a look at it and make the decision and see what they want to do with it. And I read this claim and what he's saying, and due to the flooding, due to the pumping water, this and that. Yeah, things happen there in the construction too. These things happen. But I think we should give it to the insurance company that make a decision.
So I read the thing, I agree, it's definitely a substantial loss. My question is, maybe this is for Michael. There was talk about different levels of pumping, and whatever, there's a stormwater pond across the street, but we paid a pile of money to engineer the whole storm sewer area on this. And I get it, Saturday was kind of a unique event, it doesn't happen often. We've got a lot of other infrastructure, we have some infrastructure. I mean, you spoke to that in front of Pick and Save, for example, every time we get a half or quarter inch rain within an hour, the thing floods. And every single project that we do, we pay a pile of money for engineers to do. I have never once, I've been on this board for a year and a half, I have never once sat here with one of these proposals coming to us for a road project or street project or a stormwater project and say, hey, you know, this thing is marginal, we should upsize this storm sewer to accommodate a more than normal rainflow, or it's right on the bubble, you know, you guys really should go with a 12-inch pipe instead of 10-inch pipe. I have never ever seen that. I feel like the liability falls back on the engineer. This road isn't even a year old. And if we just rebuilt the entire storm system, I mean, we paid to have this all engineered. Where's the return on that investment? How are they not viable?
Well, I understand what you're saying, but I don't think they're willing to pay for that kind of a design. They designed that for 100 years. Now, if you want to design it for 500, your price goes significantly high. It's cost of the pipe, cost of the construction of it, it's not difficult, it's very simple. But we designed it, let's say, I'm saying the engineer designed it for 100 years. Now, do you get 100 years flood every day? No. You get it once a year? We don't know that. Even with 500 years flood, although it said 500 years flood, but it's not 500 years. It could be every other year. So he designed it for 100 years flood. That's the standard.
I'll say this one's maybe somewhat unique. The stormwater analysis always goes over what is the surface flow. The claim is about the recharge of groundwater due to the pond. So the stormwater ponds, as far as surface water flow is concerned, they performed as they were supposed to. The creek was held in check, it wasn't overflowing, we didn't have roads underwater in that area, which historically we would have had Zinzer and Shorey underwater. Chief Hunt's property would have had a lot more flow through it. So the ponds did handle the stormwater. It's the retention of that water and how that recharge maybe the groundwater system or cause the adjacent groundwater to be higher is really, you know, likely what occurred where that was the main difference. So that analysis of the groundwater recharge wasn't part of the scope of the stormwater plan. Generally speaking, that's not a level of detail that we ask for, because that would require a lot more study of private property and those items too. So
That makes sense. Art?
Well, I think this problem came up a little earlier even than this last terrific rain we had. Because my son and daughter-in-law golfed there, and she said it was cooled down for what, 10 days?
13.
Okay.
So this past weekend, or that rain event we had Saturday, the long pond, we did dam up the south ditch on Weston Ave so that the water couldn't get into the overflow ponds as it did at the end of June. So I believe, you know, 18 or went the wrong way. A day and a half after that rain event, they were golfing on the course. So I believe, you know, modification of just restricting some of that overflow so it couldn't just come as one big rush. It did its thing. It made it so the course is usable and we're not holding all that water to recharge the groundwater system again.
A day and a half after a major rain event is normal for Crane Meadows. We're pretty saturated back there, low land. So damming that up allowed us to get back to normal practices. What my complaint was we should have been open on 75-degree sunny days in that 13-day stretch. That was very challenging for us as a business owner, not being able to be open when every other course is packed is hard. And I will say this, it was an unfortunate timing. Michael happened to be on vacation. I think that had he been in town, we could have potentially came up with the solution of pumping the ponds down and getting that dam sooner. But unfortunately, it prolonged. It was not ideal.
It was like the fourth or fifth wettest June on record too, since records have been kept. So I mean, I get it.
Oh, I don't disregard or have any
lack of respect for how much rain we've gotten. But in 7 years of, or this is our 7th season, 6.5 years ago in the golf course, we've become, I would like to say, experts on moving water on this course because it floods a lot. And we know how to get it open and playable as fast as we could. And what was happening was we would do everything that we've done historically, and we've had 4.5-inch rain events in less than a day. So we know rain. And historically, we were able to get it open in worst case scenario, 2 days. We were pumping 9, and it was coming back higher than when we originally started pumping. We would get it down to grass, and then overnight, and I'd be there until 1, 2 a.m. pumping water, and I'd be like, wow, tomorrow we have a chance. And then come back, or my grounds crew, because I have to work my real job, grounds crew would come in and they would say, it's almost over our boots in the fairway.
Do we have it fixed?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we've restricted how much water can go into that pond, and that's why this past weekend event.
Right.
You see recharging, not continuously, because that's what happens when you pump too much, you're recharging the groundwater. It's not gonna flow away, it's not gonna go anyplace.
Well, our problem was the retention pond was considerably higher than our fairway.
Yeah.
And hydrostatic pressure was taking that groundwater and trying to find its equilibrium. That equilibrium, or that groundwater, never used to be higher than our fairway because that field was essentially, let's just say, the same level as our fairway. So if that field was flooded, our fairway was flooded. It never had an opportunity to do this and come up on our side. We've never, in 6.5 years, 7th season, we've never had water, pump water out, and just to have it rise without rain. This was new. And there's a direct correlation in my belief of the retention pond being as high as it was. Now, this rains event, right now, there's still water against the dam that Michael and his team created. There's still water that if they remove those sand beds, it would come back. And I'd be willing to bet you guys dollars to donuts that if that water came back in there, water would start coming back up on fairway 9. So the only reason why we are open and playable now is because they came up with a temporary solution. I'm assuming we're gonna make it more permanent. But that's why I filed this. I'm not a litigious person. I wanted to be extremely fair in the sense that I'm willing to admit we would be closed some of those days, but the amount of effort, the amount of work that our grounds crew put in, the amount of gasoline, diesel, rentals, 8 pumps when we've never ran more than 5, all of those things, I started thinking about this and I go, boy, that's some costs there that it's hard to absorb for a small business that, I'll be honest, doesn't make a lot of money. It pays for itself, but it doesn't make a lot of money. So I'm sitting here going, I should probably write something up, and that's why I submit.
So just to clarify, Michael, something we did with our stormwater plan, it basically impacted their operations and roughly for about 14 days.
It appears to be, the pond is holding water at a level higher than the fairway.
Their ground is at, basically, so it's.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the.
I was just gonna say.
On the floor. Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Thank you all. 39, discussion and or action on president's appointments to tourism commission. So this is where we're gonna go from a 7, or excuse me, from a 6 to a 5. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good. From a 6 to a 5.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Everybody that's,
Thanks, guys.
yep, thanks guys. Everybody on this commission, we have a hotelier, we have some board members on here.
You list off who's all on that.
Yeah, okay, so myself, and Barb, Hushane, Jamie, Dino Corvino, and Mary Hencourt from, the Fairfield Inn. She's our latest one, but to be in compliance, we have to have a hotelier. Everyone, Jamie asked to be on that created the 6 at the time. The last one was actually Hushane. The only one that I actually asked to move over was Dino. I asked him, would you mind jumping on there, because we were short ones. And so my motion, or my action would be to remove, he's still in parks. He's still in that, committee, which is what he's asked for. But my motion would be to, is it no? My appointment would be to remove Dino Corvino from tourism. What's your pleasure?
I have a question, I mean,
Well, let's see if it gets on the floor first, or, right? Yeah. Yeah. What? Well, I can, but I mean, I'd like to have the board do it, I guess. It's fine. You're making a motion? Remove, okay. And is there a second? Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by the, Hardinger. Now on the discussion. Any discussion?
so I have a question. If we're only gonna have 5 members, should it be 4 trustees and a community member? That's my question, or should it be 2 or 3 2 trustees and 3 community members, or 3 trustees and 2? I don't know if the whole point of having these committees is to get the public involved, and I don't know if having 4 trustees sitting on that committee is a great.
I would agree. And, the last trustee that asked to be on was Husheng. But Husheng is on the CDP board. So I think it's right for him to be on there. Before that, it was Jamie. And then it's, Barb and I who were on finance and go over. So help me out and pick a trustee, and I'll pick a trustee.
And the only thing I want to comment about this, Steve, is, and you can correct me on this, I'm sure I might be mistaken, but one of the reasons that we have so many trustees on that committee is because there's a lot of public money that gets out of it.
True.
So we want elected representatives to be on that committee. Not just, I mean, we have some really good people on it. We had in the past, I don't know if it's all over now, but, so that there was elected people on that committee handling money from the community that's going out. So I agree with you.
Well, we got a lot of changes too.
Yeah, and on any other committees, 100%, 2 or 3 elected, make most of them local business owners and constituents, but because the money involved.
And
To that point, though, it could be 3 trustees and 2, and that's still.
majority.
That's still a majority.
Pick one.
I agree with you.
Pick one.
Well, we have a motion on the floor,
Yes.
so we should probably vote on that
Okay.
first.
Hearing no more discussion on the, what I just said, is I think, on the twist. So to bring it down to 5. So, and we have a motion to second on the floor. So hearing no more discussion, unless you want to have some discussion. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
So 2 noes. And 5 yeses. Correct? Okay, so motion carries. I'll do a better job next year. Anyway, so that's where we are right now. 40, discussion and or action on president's appointment to fire EMS possible merger review subcommittee. My appointment would be Steve Cronin. We're gonna select, somebody from every community. Everybody's gonna have a spot on the subcommittee, about merging fire departments. And, that would be, Rothschild, that'd be, Rib Mountain. That would be someone from Safer. So are you serving for both? Are you gonna serve the Safer on there too?
We can pick someone else.
Because I can jump on her for Safer, but you're here from Weston. And the Schofield will have a spot, everybody gets 1 spot on there. So Chief would obviously be there too. But the Safer board unanimously said, absolutely, we want to merge and move forward. Rothschild does too, Rib Mountain does too, I believe. This is on this tonight, right? We have so we'll find out what you all think.
No, I'll motion to approve trustee Cronin on the fire EMS possible merger review subcommittee.
Okay, I'll second that. So we have a motion on the floor to appoint Cronin as the subcommittee selectee from the village board, and a second by Pipsino. Any more in discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. I'm sorry, I looked right at you. Okay.
So this subcommittee will report back to the board and be listed in that top committee stuff, right? So we'll hear back from that subcommittee monthly.
The subcommittee will report to Safer's board, because it was a Safer board of directors determination to create the subcommittee. we can make it on the report from Safer / the subcommittee, but it's a Safer subcommittee.
So we've never seen a safer committee report in here. We get a report from the fire department, but from that committee and commission. That's what I was asking, would it be in a board committee session?
I almost think this would just fall under your report, everyone, would it not?
I can certainly do that if that's what you want. I'm happy to do it.
Well, Jamie's been bringing it up the last couple of months that we should be reporting back. I haven't done.
And either intent was to just provide that,
Yeah.
that transparency of that, hey, this is where we are, we're 80% of the way there, or you did a great job of, hey, we've got this unique contract dialed in, and it starts January 1. I think it's great, but just any of that stuff that gets people back. However that looks, I don't know, but I think we should make that determination.
I think
Collectively between the three of us,
I
we
think-
can do a better job of.
No, I think we should just appoint you to do that from now on, and then we could appoint you to do the oversight for police. To let this board know what's going on too. You know, I think that'd be a great idea, so that'll be on the next month's agenda. So it won't be just a subcommittee, I'll appoint someone from those two committees, to come back to us. The commission is different, the commission, they really don't, that's higher
That's just
fire,
hiring.
higher fire, it ain't just, it's higher fire, and discipline. So the oversight should report back and so should safety. So that'll be on next month. Okay, give it a let's see. Let's see, so where are we right now? Subcommittee, vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Next. Thank you. 41, discussion and or action on attorney referral to review tourism entity agreement with CDB village ordinance process tied to the 5/2024 tourism commission meeting. So that we already kind of talked about. So that's all in motion, and then you'll lose loophole. And we'll get working on that. I
was
think
gonna
I've
say,
been,
otherwise
I've been
the-
scolded sufficiently.
Attorney Edie will return to the closed session items. If you wanted
Oh.
to talk about it again, we could maybe defer to that
Oh,
closed
please do.
session if you
Please
wanted a
do.
more thorough review.
Yep, I hope we do.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I move to defer action on item 41 until after the session.
Motion by Pincinel to defer action until after the closed session. Do we have a second? Thank you very much for that second. By Hardinger, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Appreciate that. Discussion, where you going? Where you going? Whoa. Jamie, bring the bag back.
Yeah.
So that you have it here.
You guys want to?
Let's see, so 42, discussion and or action on dates and time of regular monthly meetings. We had a trustee that asked, sometimes or maybe most of the time, we're rushing through these meetings. They're fun and packed and full of all kinds of stuff. Should we go to 2 times a month? 6 or 7 years ago, we were 2 times, and we went to 1. In my feeling, I thought staff was doing nothing but going up and down, putting, committee, board packets together. It just seemed like that's all we were doing, going back and forth. Go ahead. So let's make a motion. So, let's make a motion, Jim.
So I move to change the board trustee meeting times to 2 times monthly, meeting on the first and third Mondays of the month at 6 p.m. Reports from the departments are to be presented at the first meeting of the month. Reports from boards, committees, and commissions are to be presented at the second meeting of the month.
Do we have a second?
I second.
You have a second? Okay, so we have a second by Wyland on the discussion. I'm gonna go first. I am completely against this. And, we're sitting here complaining about more meetings and less pay. And now we wanna have more meetings and task staff to even do more, all that stuff. So I think it's, I don't know, I think it got what? I think it got brought up because I do tend to push at the end, because I think 9 o'clock is plenty enough time. But if we wanna be here till 12 o'clock to get it done on 1 night a month, I'm fine with that. That's my opinion. Jamie?
Or, we get more of a sufficient time to absorb all this, read the packet, because 350 pages at the end of the work week into a weekend is not feasible.
What's really surprising is we have 2 meetings a month, It's still under 350 pages each one.
Okay,
Each one.
okay, but maybe there's an alternative, maybe we can get the packet sooner, even if it is amended, we're still working through the packet.
Prior to this, we were getting the packets on Friday at
Friday
4 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we pushed to Thursday and then we pushed to Wednesday, and I think we've been really good on Wednesdays now. I know, but at least staff was getting it done Friday afternoon, and then they enjoyed their weekend. This,
Whereas we got slammed.
we, if you read it, I don't always read it like I should. But I do on Mondays, but anyway, so it's a case of point. Go ahead.
So the reason that I asked for 2 times monthly, several reasons. One, like Davey said, there's 329 pages. Many of our meetings last hours and hours. It doesn't, whether you have 1 meeting or 2 meetings, if you have 50 agenda items, you do 25 to 25, or you do 1 meeting of 50. It doesn't matter if the workload doesn't change. Why I asked to lessen the burden on staff and lessen the packet size and meeting length is if you split the reports from departments and the committee stuff, there's 100 pages related to each one of those. So you have 100 pages to work with on the first one, 100 pages on the second one. It's not a 4-hour board meeting. It's a 2-hour board meeting. You still have 4 hours worth of work. You're just doing it 2 separate nights. Some of our board members do not stay engaged and tend to rush stuff as we go longer and longer. And it would eliminate the need for many of these special meetings. We had several special meetings come up. We really had a quorum. Was it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? It was right at the end of the month. There were almost 4 of us here. It feels like we barely had 4.
Okay.
And if we had these 2, there's almost no reason for a special meeting.
Okay.
Well, I kind of smile because we've been around and around this 1 meeting, 2 meetings for years now. We used to have 2 meetings, and then we found that actually that sometimes we were having a meeting to have a meeting. So then we switched to 1 meeting a month. And then one of the things, one of the labor presidents, when he ran, was he thought we needed 2 meetings a month. And so we went to 2 meetings a month, and once again, we would have, sometimes the agendas would be, not full, but, it was good. And then sometimes we had almost nothing on it. And because the planning committee and some of these other committees only meet once a month. So you're not going to, you're going to have it all on like one group of meetings. And what was kind of funny is I think when you came on board, they decided, yeah, these 2 committee meetings aren't, and we did the staff, you do it 1 meeting and you do it the other. They decided that no, we really should just go to the 1 again. And now you propose it, so it's just kind of like, okay, I mean, it does, we found that it really didn't work. I did.
So I'm not in favor of this. I've got a few points here. Number 1, Jim, to your point about staff being, I disagree with staff being more productive. The whole point of going to 1 meeting was to keep staff out of meetings. Everyone, myself, Jamie, Jasper, I know Michael, there's quite a few people in this room who have kids that have evening events going on, and a bunch of us already sacrificed a number of nights throughout the month to be at meetings. I personally don't care if we go till 10 or 11 o'clock, if that means that we stay with 1 meeting a month. And I understand that you're saying that people aren't engaged. To that point, I do think that there's some things that we can do as a board. I know sometimes, I'm just going to be honest, and I'm not going to try to point fingers at anybody, but there's side chatting that goes on. There's different side discussions going on between board members. It slows things down. Mark, don't take this personally, but like public comments need to stay public comments, and there needs to not be any back and forth. That's not what that's for. And I think as a board, we all need to do a better job of policing that. I think there are a number of different ways that we could shore this up and make it so that it's reasonable for everybody. But I am not in favor of going to 2 nights a month.
I'm not gonna ask anybody, I'm gonna ask you to volunteer as staff if you would care to weigh in on this. If hopefully you're confident because you all should be, and to be able to say whatever you want to say. And, if you agree or don't agree. One or two?
Or maybe if you prefer an email.
No, I mean, hey, we're saying what we think. I mean, just a show of hands, one meeting a month.
Is there, you can put that out.
Well, there's more than one.
I think Wednesday is very.
The hard part is just kind of how the board meeting falls with how Public Works and Plan Commission is. And we finish our Plan Commission, Public Works meetings on Monday night.
Right.
And
we follow.
we try to turn it around, and if there's any changes or additional information we need, we get 2 days.
Yeah, I think it's working fine, and then the finances on this night, and tourism is on this night, park. I mean, wherever they wanna go, and a couple of the other ones, Clips, I don't know where Clips is gonna end up going first Monday. Yeah, so you're gonna have to, that'll have to go on with DOT too, so if you don't wanna do show of hands, that's totally up to you. But I felt when we were doing that, I felt they were very large agendas, and I seriously thought all we were doing was going up and down, up and down, up and down. I think the Wednesday thing is put a little pressure on staff to get it out so that we actually have some time to read it for the ones that do. And I think that's very doable. I do. I just do. But anyway, I said my piece, Jamie. I know you got it on. Do you want to say anything? Yes. Jasper?
Yeah, I'd much rather sit here for one meeting.
And then Hushain.
It took as much time. I've been through the 2 meetings.
I know you have. I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it takes several more time, and I had to go, just Michael said, through 3 meetings sitting at one time.
Yep.
And it just, a lot of pressure. But
Yeah. All right, so we've all had our say. Now let's, hearing no more discussion, let's go to a vote.
Can you restate the motion, please?
Yeah, I knew somebody's gonna ask me that. So, the motion.
Let me restate my motion.
The motion, you did? Okay, go ahead.
The motion was to change the Board of Trustee meeting times to 2 times monthly, meeting on the first and third Mondays of the month at 6 p.m. Reports from departments would be presented at the first meeting of the month. Reports from boards, committees, and commissions would be presented at the second meeting of the month.
Okay. And seconded by Wyland. All those in favor of moving from 1 a month to 2 a month, say aye.
Aye.
All those, that opposed to that, say no.
No.
So let's just clarify who said what. Ayes are, show of hands. 2, and noes are 5. 2 to 5, motion fails. Okay? Now, do I have to, is that a failure, so we have to make it a positive? What was?
No, because you
This
wouldn't
was
have
a
to
positive
move to maintain status quo.
Okay, got it.
So there's no
All right.
action taken.
43, discussion and or action on assignment of a parliamentarian.
I motion to not appoint the parliamentarian.
Tonight or ever?
Ever.
Oh, okay. Motion by Cronin to not have a parliamentarian. Is there a second?
Point of order, Mr. Chair, let's avoid the negative motions, so don't get into what we got into with tourism.
That's a recommended language for official action. My
Okay,
motion.
well, I will ask that it's not avoided from.
What it is so like Robert's Rules of Order and all the stuff in the 500 pages, we would, Jim asked if we could have a parliamentarian here. We thought it would be Jamie, you know, as long as she's not, you know, like, wait a minute, Jamie said this. No, she's just gonna try to decipher, the Robert's Rules of Order, the parliamentarian, to make sure that the procedures are correct.
That's it.
And then, well, we all kind of do it together, but she probably does it the most, yeah. So, you know, shame on me for doing Robert's Rules of Order, so I'm gonna say that again. But, anyway, so we do have a motion, is that acceptable to deny?
It is okay to say that you're not gonna have it.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, is there a second, is Hardinger, any more on the discussion? Hearing none, a yes vote is to not have a parliamentarian moving forward. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. So that is a 6-1 vote to not have a parliamentarian. 44, discussion and or action on adopted Robert's Rules of Order and addition of any standing rules. Jim, is that yours? No, it's not? No. Okay.
Would the board like to just defer a motion and I would explain the RFC in the packet?
Sure.
Can we have a presentation before motion? I would love that.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I understand, and I know I'm probably talking out of place here, I understand the need to get a motion on the floor, but for something like this, I'm hesitant to make a motion because I'm not really sure where this is going, so.
100%.
I would prefer,
Just background.
otherwise,
Well, it's basically what we've been talking about, announcing the motion as we vote on it, which I have not been doing. And I'm just reading through some of this.
so if you'd like a motion to put it on the floor, I'd be happy to motion for the administrator to procure 0 additional Robert rules. That's my motion.
Okay, there's a motion,
I'll second that.
Just to get it on the floor.
a motion by Cronin to, have 0 more Robert's Rules of Orders put on the floor, right? Is that, no?
Zero training.
0 training.
No additional Roberts.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, so seconded by Jim Pincinel. Any more in the discussion? Hearing none? All oh, we want to hear.
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
Did not know
Mr.
that.
Neighbor, can you please
I did not know which way the direction was going. Go ahead. Wasn't trying to stifle it. But that's why Robert's Rules of Order is around to hold back a rule, Chairman. Go ahead. President. Or President.
So, twofold, one would be if there was a request for additional training. I know several of the trustees participated in the Food for Thought brown bag lunch that the league did. They are to be releasing that in an additional video. That was an hour training, which I can send the link once it's released by the league. I apologize, I didn't check today to see if it was posted, but they said they would be making a separate video. So that was the motion that's on the floor. The additional motion is with Robert's rules as adopted. We don't have any other standing rules of order. A standing rule of order, which has happened tonight, there's 2 that might be good. One would be that we are acknowledging reports. We're not accepting, adopting, or approving reports. The other one would be that we would allow discussion prior to a motion if we felt like there needed to be further conversation or education before a motion was made. A third, which I think I also included on there, is actually once a motion and a second is made, there isn't time for it's now the board's discussion. There isn't to be discussion from the floor. And I think we've seen that in some of our neighboring municipalities where they have said it's at the board level once the motion and the second is made. We often still allow conversation from the floor on agenda items, which if you had a standing rule would be fine. We just don't have that standing.
Yeah, and I've had the same experience, like if there's a presentation or educational period prior to any motion being made. Okay. So that's kind of why I'm confused by this.
Well, and the county has 2 meetings a month where one is all educational, one is more.
Well, then they go over the thing too, but yeah, there's always something given before we're expecting to make a motion, Barb?
Yeah, I guess my understanding, I don't know if it's Robert's Rules of Order or where it's from, that if discussion starts, not a presentation or whatever, but if discussion starts before the motion is made, it's considered as having been made.
That the motion is made?
Yep, because you are discussing the subject, that is considered as being, I don't know if it was the second or what, but that if discussion is made before the motion, it's considered to have been a motion to discuss. But that was a rule that was, and I said, I don't know if it was in Robert's rules or where it is, but that was always the rule. That's why they said we should get a motion in the second, because if you don't, it's considered without any names.
Oh,
I don't know, but I mean, it's following rules, I guess.
I don't know about the rest of the board, but I'm gonna be real honest, and I don't remember if was 6-1 the vote, or was it 5-2 on Robert's rules, because I could have sworn I voted no.
May have been 5.
But admit it, if I did vote yes, not gonna lie, I'm having some buyer's remorse, and part of me right now is thinking, why did we do this? So if that's the direction the board wants to go, I would be happy to rescind my motion and make a motion right now to remove Robert's Rules of Order,
Right off the.
our adopted policy.
It's better.
It is, it says discussion and or action on adopted Robert's Rules of Order. We can
That's
do it
for
right now.
training. That's for training. Additional.
It says and addition of any standing, it says,
It actually is.
it does.
It's worded correctly in 44. This is all on me.
Well,
I just thought maybe this would help us. Apparently, it's, you know, some of us are taking advantage of it, and then it's definitely messing me up. I don't have my cadence at all for this.
I do think we've learned a lot. I think there's some points that as a board we can take from this,
I think we can make our own.
but
Well, we kind of act under it, we just never adopted it,
Yeah.
right?
And we could go back to the handbook, which was developed, which is basically Robert's Rules of Order, but does have some of the nuances that we read.
sounds like a great staff referral right there.
I think that's why.
See, under Robert's Rules of Order, nobody should talk. I'm supposed to be letting everybody talk, and I'm not doing it. Yeah,
I know.
so,
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
there you go.
So yes, you should be recognizing each individual, only after we have received the floor, should we talk.
That's a good.
The debate is limited to, the debate would be limited if whoever made the motion, trustee Cronin made the motion for 0 additional training, he would be recognized first for the floor for debate. No debate should take place before there's a motion, and the motion takes place, or as where then the debate takes place. Everyone gets 1 shot at debate. They have a chance to rebut. You get 2 shots. Anything more than that, you have to make a motion to suspend the rules. So that, all of these things help to push this meeting along and don't make it an 11 o'clock meeting. But chatter, talking before you have a motion, also, if you didn't read the 329 pages, I'm not seeing anyone here didn't, but when it's well, what is this about? That's where you do all this homework before you get here and find out, hey, gosh, instead of spending 15 minutes here to figure out what this is about, I'm gonna spend 15 minutes on my couch and figure out what number 41 is about. And then when I get here, I'm gonna have that motion already prepared, so I can say, hey, let's talk about this, and these are the questions that I have, and the debate and discussion that I have on that. If we're not doing that outside of the room, we're doing it in the room, that's how these meetings get to 11 o'clock, that's the reason for Robert's rules. It also allows everyone to have a voice, even if you're the 1 person or 2 that say, hey, Robert's rules, maybe that's not for us. It allows that to happen.
Well, that was the reason that we originally had never adopted Robert's Rules of Order. We did write up a book and worked on it that used a lot of Robert's rules, but there were some things that just did not work. And I guess that is what, when we can.
The board for many, many years did not want to adopt.
No.
Every time it got brought up, and for some reason, you all did. Except you.
Then I think trustee Cronin said no.
I thought it was cool. I think it was just Robert's Rules of Order. It sounds kind of cool.
So I would like to withdraw my motion.
I
would.
Which one?
Which one? The one to, I would like to withdraw my motion to, for the administrator to prepare 0 additional Robert's Rules of Order training.
Okay.
I'll second that.
And you seconded it.
So I would like to make a motion to remove Robert's Rules of Order as the adopted policy for the Village of Weston Board of Trustees.
Motion has been made by trustee Cronin to remove Robert's Rules of Order as a guide to the village, to the trustees.
I'll second.
Second by Hardinger. Any more in the discussion?
My motion is my motion. If you want the floor, it's yours.
So Robert's Rules says the first one is him, then you gotta go to him if you're gonna go to him.
No, that doesn't necessarily have to.
He made the second. Okay, just wondered. Go ahead.
It's in there. So
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Go ahead.
Yeah.
There's even the 11th edition that was referenced on the attorney.
Can you go ahead with your question?
I would be
Yeah,
happy
I'll see over there.
is there a proposal to adopt any other parliamentary procedure for the meeting, or is it just straight up Wild West?
At this time, no, I would prefer it just to go back to how it was. And at that time, if
No,
the
we
board would like to bring something forward, whether it's the handbook, or whatever, I think maybe we could all sit on that for a while.
The handbooks have been approved, 34, 33 pages.
So that's what we would be going back to. As I can amend my motion to allow, if that's what you would like.
I think that would be appropriate, and I would gladly second that.
Okay, so that's, so a motion and a second.
Well,
On
okay,
the
so
amendment?
I will amend my original motion to go back to using the Robert's Rules of Order handbook instead of.
I second it.
Just,
We have to.
it's just the board of
trustees.
trustees.
It's
So
the board of
village
trustees.
board of
Okay.
trustees.
And
sorry.
does everyone have a copy?
No,
I do some.
I didn't think so.
We will,
Yeah.
we will get a copy
Can we
sent out.
please get copies, everybody? The
Yep.
colored ones?
I will second that.
Okay.
Village of
We have
Weston
a-
handbook.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Warren.
Good, that was
So
the
carried.
amendment and the motion.
I'm sorry.
You need the original.
I'll just give it to that. I'll just give it to that. I didn't allow anybody to talk, but go ahead.
I didn't poke one time, I'm just saying.
So now, now on the original motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 45, discussion and or action on term limits and age limits for appointed and elected officials. I've been waiting all night for this.
Really?
Go ahead, Jim.
We need a motion.
We need a motion.
No, we don't.
No,
We
just
just
said we're
talked,
gonna-
we just talked.
Yes,
Oh,
we're that all.
we're done.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Jamie, tell us what's going on.
Oh, education. Go ahead. Jim.
Okay, great. So, I think this is a topic that, well, no, I know this is a topic I would like to discuss with the board and have trustees and village president weigh in on. We've got, and I'm not talking just necessarily in Village of Weston, but in local, state, county, and federal government, we have folks that have been there for 40+ years. I don't know that career politicians are in the best interest of the Village of Weston. And I'm not in support of career politicians. I don't know what the correct number is. I don't know, perhaps the most appropriate method would be to refer this to as an attorney referral. I know if you can place age limits or term limits, and by age limits, would it be a floor and a ceiling, right? Could a 4-year-old run in the only vacant seat or a 19-year-old for that matter, have 4 votes from all 4 people in his or her family, and be appointed the village president?
Aren't these all state statutes?
Mm-hmm.
Are these all set in the state,
So,
Jamie?
okay.
Pam?
So does somebody want to make a motion, or did you want to make a motion?
I don't have to do this.
Or we're just talking first?
I guess it's
Okay.
the Wild Wild West.
So I believe, getting elected is 18, I think. And, there is no age limit. I would be absolutely 110% behind this for federal and state, but I'm actually offended to be called a politician. And that's just me. I'm definitely not a politician at all. And for this to be brought up at this level, I think it's, I thought it was a joke, but apparently you're serious. So, I don't care if somebody's here 60 years, good for them. We have because with people leaving all the time, that's good, but 18, I think, is a limit. And if you die in your chair, I'm fine with it. So term limits, age limits for sure, other than 18 thing. I mean, the mayor of, Merrill was 18 when he wanted to make the whole, he wanted to do the whole thing in disc golf up there for Merrill. I said my piece, so I'm completely against this, Steve.
I would kind of agree with what President Holmes is saying. I think at the federal and state level, it makes sense. Here, look at the last election, for example. The 3 of us were up for re-election. Zero people ran against us. Ran against the 3 of us. And I don't mean to sound like arrogant or anything, but it's not hard to do that. It's not. I mean, if someone really wants to do it, by all means, I'm here because I'm happy to be here. But if someone decides to run against me and they get elected, more power to you. That's my 2 cents.
I have never accepted. I mean, I'm so against politicians getting money for favors or gold bars or anything like that. I once was done a favor by somebody in this town, and I'm pretty damn sure I paid them back 3 times. They begged me never to do that again because I took it right to their business and brought an amount of food there that rotted because they couldn't eat it all. told him not to do it, he did it anyway, and, there is zero chance that somebody can get me for trying to help somebody or control. Even with some of the things I've been called over the past years, that I'm, in a good old boys club, it's just absolute bullshit. I'm not part of it at all. Part of it.
Well, even on county, I mean, I know this is the county level, sometimes there's seats that just get appointed because nobody ran for
Oh,
them.
that's insane, yeah. I mean,
Well,
I-
Schofield getting paid what they get paid, they can't get people in the seats.
And one thing I want to say about that too, is they roll over every 2 years. One thing that I really like about being here, Weston, I mean, three of you. I mean, you guys have been here, in and out, different seats doing different things, and I'm really appreciative of, I know I can ask things about finance and the history of things, going bar and any three one of you. And I know I'm gonna get some background into it, but I got no idea.
You're including me.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know what I'm saying, like,
I'm 14, my wife thinks I'm
you know,
14.
but I mean,
Or
you
actually-
know, at the county, we've had so much turnover in the last couple of years, you get some of the people that are in there, they don't even know what's going on. And I'm not saying anything against them, I didn't either way.
Well,
It takes time to understand what Pam does here, what Jessica does here, what all, you know, what everybody does here, and I still come in once or twice a week just to poke around, hey, what's going on?
We have a
just try to
motion.
get ideas.
We have a motion.
We don't have a motion, it's not discussion.
Are we?
But I guess my thing is, there's some experience there that I'm glad we have. So, I mean, I don't.
Any more?
You're saying your part.
Well, that would help.
You almost got tumbled over there.
That's true. That would a 5-minute pickup.
It's term limits and age, I'm probably out of here.
Okay. All right, so no motion, maybe make a motion? No? No motion? So what happens now, parliamentary? Not,
If there's no motion, there's no action, we just.
no action. Okay, 46, discussion and or action on administrative referrals instead of staff referrals on agenda. Something I've been thinking about the last couple of months is, so at the end when we have staff referrals, I made it pretty clear that this board, has only, its control and its power as together. And, during the month, to be reaching out to staff and emailing all different things, to be honest, staff doesn't have to answer it. It can go to the administrator, and the administrator can decide, what, he or she would want to do with that. I'm concerned that at the end of every night of our board meetings, we have a staff referral that really is, it can be one trustee telling staff kind of what they want alone. And what I'm asking is when those staff referrals are put out, should the whole board vote on those? Or should those staff referrals instead be administrator referrals? And the administrator decides the timeline or the workload on putting those things out. And I'm asking the whole board that.
I agree with that.
I would agree.
Well, I have from quite some time, and I think I had discussed it with you. I was concerned that we had too many board members taking up the time of staff and kind of making it difficult. And that is what one of our municipalities, that's their problem. Because they're all after, they're not going to the head of their thing, they're all going to the different staff members. And I know of several of them that have just said enough and they left.
And I want to clarify, Barbara's talking about me. So if you think it's me, you told me originally, a while ago, you're talking, we have to do this together, and in a nice way, but she did. And I believe that is the correct course. We only have our power together, not singly.
And that's where.
And I know it's hard for staff to maybe not answer or whatever, but they truly don't have to answer, period. And that's why I think it should go to the administrator. I'm sorry if I cut you.
Well, no, the thing is, the administrator is, just like in the county, is our only employer.
Yep.
Our only employee, and so employer, is our only employee. She manages every, you've got your vote and all that stuff, I'm not saying, but, if we've got something, I think it needs to come to the board. If this is something we want to really have one of our staff or whatever get deep into, and then it can be referred to our administrator, and and she can decide how that should be done, but as a board, just because I want something doesn't mean the whole board wants. So, hey, I,
Shane, go ahead, that's right.
So let's say I'm chairman of public work, and usually I'll call Michael about the agenda or about the project, or do I have to?
No, that's fine, but I do make a very conscious effort that if I communicate, well, not to Jen, not Michael, but I mean, if it's a real quick thing about, do you know who's going in here? Otherwise, everything I email, every single thing has Jamie, CC, every single time.
Oh, I can do
So,
that.
but I mean, if you're having an agenda thing or something, we know what we're talking about here.
Yep.
Steve?
I motion to amend the Board of Trustees agenda to reflect administrator referrals instead of staff referrals.
Motion by Steve Cronin to change the language from staff referrals to administrative referrals, and a second by Hardinger. Any more on discussion?
yes.
Nope, gonna hand up over here with Jim. Go ahead, Jim.
So would that be a separate motion then would we have to take action on that, or that would wait until the following month, so it'd be 2 months until anything actually happened? Or during the administrative referral, if trustee Ermeling said, hey, really wanna look at,
No, I just like, see now here's the green light for me, in my opinion, is that if you make an administrative referral, Jamie has carte blanche on whether she's gonna act on it that month or not.
It's not,
It's
so it's
completely
100% her
her
discretion,
discretion.
it's not at the,
Yep.
so that's different than what was discussed here. What was discussed here was what has to be approved by the board to make that direction.
No, if you're gonna make a staff referral, should it really not come from the whole board, not just from one trustee? That's what I said. Or should it go to the administrator to refer, a work task or something, and then she'll fit it in.
So essentially, the same way that we've been operating for the last 4 months, 6 months, since we adopted the run everything through Jamie policy, continue that?
No, you've been doing referrals, to departments and stuff. I guess I took them that you were doing them to staff, not to just Jamie. You would bring up a topic and it would go to that specific topic. To just go to Jamie, you just know that Jamie will do it. Now, I think Jamie should get back to us, or whoever made that referral, that, we just don't have time this month, or whatever, so.
Correct, but does that request, every single request needs to be approved and action taken on that request tonight? So,
Not.
or it's just straight up in
My
Jamie's.
feeling is right to Jamie, done. Yep, right to Jamie.
And then she'll decide if it needs to go on the next agenda or the next meeting as an agenda.
Well, even if it needs that much approval.
Yeah.
Or she can just assign it.
Right.
Or get you back the information.
And it doesn't need additional board
No,
approval,
I don't
right?
think
So
it
just
should.
under,
I think we should
I
try
know
it at
58.
we should try it at this level first.
Yep.
And then see if it'll work. Agreed. Okay.
Any more?
Mark?
All right, well, I guess the reason I thought that the board should have a yay, nay on what we're referring, if at a meeting, you're asking to refer something to the administrator, and you're the only one that's really interested in having it. You have to justify it to the rest of the board. Why are we gonna waste Jamie's time?
I agree with
No,
you, I'm
no,
not,
no.
I'm not disputing that.
He can go to Jamie, in my mind. And you don't have to agree, but we're not gonna approve that.
And it's up to Jamie.
It's up to Jamie.
Okay,
Yep.
all right, fine.
Okay. So 46, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Without any more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 47, discussion and or action on Lindenwood Court design and construction. What's your pleasure?
Move to direct staff to contact the current property owners to update them on the progress of the water and sewer extension, allow them 90 days to determine if they will develop the plat privately, or if the village shall begin the development process with then special assessing 100% improvement costs.
I'll second. Motion by Pincinel and second by Hardinger. Clerk, if you could just note what Jim said, because I can't remember most of it.
It's written down.
Oh, you read it off here. I thought it was
Yeah,
yours.
but
I'm sorry. Thank you. All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 48, discussion and or action on Jelnik Avenue and Alderson Street intersection study results. Hey,
I'll move to forward with the design of a compact roundabout for the Augustine Street and Jelnik Avenue intersection.
I'll second.
Motion by Zagami and second by Hardinger, on which intersection?
Alderson and Johnson.
And Jelnik, okay, so what are those?
So I'll set it.
Yep. Okay, any more discussion? Jim?
Yes, in the report from the engineer on the traffic study, I saw no mention of adding a Green Turner Community Center, Community Park, overhaul, or additional traffic from the Mount Olive funeral home outfit. All of these will be in full swing by 2034, certainly, but in 2024, 2 of the 3 will be online. Majority of the Green Turner Community Center traffic will likely be funneling in as the DCFS school is letting out. So whatever number is on there, I don't know if it doubled. I'm not an engineer, I can't tell you that, but common sense tells you that there's 50,000 people coming, or whatever the number that they told us was. They also have a 4-hour study that they're trying to justify. We've got to have the traffic for a 4-hour period. I don't know that that's necessarily applicable here, because it doesn't take 4 hours to fill up the school and 4 hours to empty the school. And nor will it ever, or should it. The idea is moving, I don't think most of the, maybe the police department can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would assume most of these crashes or issues that we have at this intersection, extended queue times, are not happening at 10:30 at night, or not during that peak into or out of school, or into or out of church, or into or out of community center. This is debate.
Well, I'm just asking, like, you know,
My recommendation is to install traffic lights.
you want to put traffic lights instead of traffic circle?
I do. The cost of a traffic circle, we just built that one. Michael, what was the cost of it? On the other Alderson and Weston traffic circle, the mini one is like, what, $1 million?
No, it'll be about 500,000.
Perfect. How much are the traffic lights on Mesker? 200?
No, they're also, I don't know off the top of my head. The Mesker setup was, I guess, cheaper because the intersection, when it was originally built, was set up with the conduit and the islands and the intersection already configured for those traffic lights. So that intersection really is just buying the traffic signals and putting them in the base versus what it would take to completely rebuild an intersection. I guess I'm not sure where you're seeing that 4-hour. Usually they look at 4-hour increments just to determine where the peak hour is. And then they use that peak hour for the turning movement. So it's not necessarily an analysis for 4 hours. It's to give yourself a window of time to collect the data, so you can then say, yeah, that's definitely that peak hour that we observed the traffic flowing through.
I'm sorry, Michael. Part of the discussion that we had at Public Works was continuity of movement from traffic coming in and out. Part of the projection that was originally brought up with DOT and everybody else with the review is we want to keep traffic flowing as much as possible. Traffic lights aren't going to allow that to happen. Just to your point, the amount of traffic that's going to be flowing through there now, especially with Green Ag and everything else, we want to try to keep the traffic moving as fast as possible. And that there's not a lot of room at that intersection. There's just physically not a lot of room to land there. We're trying to move forward with the design. So if we need to make it a little larger, we're gonna have to encroach on the north side, which is, I mean, our side, you know, you got that building on the southeast side with that residence right there. If you start backing up traffic through there, you'll never get anybody through.
You'll have to shift into the park and into the administrator's building, which they'll also allow us to do that on Ross and Hex. But if you go to Green Heck, the manufacturing Green Heck, at a shift change, the east traffic on Ross and the south traffic on, what is that, Alderson, is absolutely incredible at a four-way stop sign. And it's the same thing here, from Mount Olive.
Trying to get it moving.
And if you got a roundabout there, this is the one place I believe we need a roundabout there, period. And same with that, Alderson and Ross too, I'm sorry.
You know, one other thing is, there is no way for the school, they can hold the event at the Green Egg and Turner and have the school at the same time.
Right.
They don't even have a parking for them. So it's just not gonna happen.
Steve?
I think you all know how I feel about roundabouts, but I actually, admittedly, I do kind of think this, if there's a spot for one, this would be a good one for the school. there. The only question I have, Michael, you had mentioned $500,000 for the one to the north?
Yeah.
The north?
Yeah.
So,
Is that just our cost or is that the whole cost? Because we received funding and then that's joint with.
yeah, so that's the roundabout cost broken out, which we had done because Rothschild's paying for 3/4 of that roundabout, and we're paying for 1/4, so that roundabout cost was broken out specifically on that project so that we knew.
And DOT had in the numbers the pink for the coral color. So are they gonna put in green with a white evergreen tree?
If we want to, we can, because it's our project, unless.
It's a little sarcastic, I'm sorry.
We can do whatever we want.
I'm sorry, I'm a little off my.
You took that right-
I'm a
right
little
to-
off my. You handled it
Yeah, okay.
perfectly, you handled me. All right, so do we have a motion in a second?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, go ahead.
You two had a motion.
Yes, I know. And Hardy.
I second.
Yep, first and a second, so we have a motion and a second on the floor. For interaction on John Lake Avenue and Alderson Street intersection study results. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. 2 noes, 5 yeses. So passed. 49, discussion and or action on Fuller Street engineering contract amendment. This is just the area by the arrow bar and also lining up.
I move to approve the design amendment with Becker Hobby for the additional survey, intersection design, and project coordination costs not to exceed $48,600.
Motion by Cronin, second by Wyland, to approve the Fuller Street engineering contract amendment not to exceed $48,000. Question by Jim?
How much money is the chamber is related to the Thomas Street reline?
I don't think that's much of it. I don't think I have that.
How are they gonna?
We have 16,000-17,000 for surveying.
Yeah.
There was like some red blocks in there that, I don't know if you survey all that or whichever.
Yeah, so
Does it have to be redesigned? Do you have to redo it? Do you have to do both sides? Yeah, I mean, somehow Thomas Street's been there for a long time, right?
And Thomas is a stop sign, right?
Yeah.
Are we stopping Fuller anywhere?
No,
Nowhere?
unless we want to.
Boy, residents want a stop sign.
Tom's
Not
not
me.
here. Tom's gonna be around though.
There. No, I mean Fuller. I mean, that's a long run.
So, yeah, the Thomas is minor. Some of it's just picking up some additional survey data, just because the survey data didn't pick up, to twist it a little bit. So, I guess.
We can always have a stop. So it's no big deal. Okay, motion and second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 50, discussion and or action on well 4, PFAS treatment construction services contract. Motion to approve by Ermeling. Second by Wyland. Any discussion?
I have one. Are we getting any, do we already get help from the state for this or?
So half of this cost is eligible for, principal or reimbursement from the state. It's part of our
Oh, so
state
half
water
of it,
law.
okay.
Yep.
So, good. I'm good with that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 51, just, hey, I don't have to announce this anymore. I just thought of it.
You do it on.
I know, but I don't. I'm kind of thinking, hey, I'll just ask for forgiveness. Okay. Discussion and or action on street superintendent job description.
Move to recommend the village board approve the street superintendent job description.
Second.
By Pincinel, motion by Pincinel, second by Ermeling. Any discussion?
Is this come from the HR committee?
Yes, it was acted on at HR just prior to this meeting, and was approved.
Any more questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? So carried. 52, discussion and or action on assessor contract.
Motion to recommend the village not extend. Motion to recommend the extended contract with Greg Smith for 1 year, 2025, with the lot of doing RFPs for following.
I'll second that.
Motion by Ermeling, second by Pincinel. Any more in the discussion?
Okay, so
Oh, I should have did. Yeah.
The 42,000.
I would, I mean, his price has not gone up since 2020. So I think when you look at it for 4 years, I don't think a $5,000 increase is unsubstantiated by any stretch of the imagination. And as far as what Barb had mentioned in her motion about going out for an RFP for assessor services, I happen to think Greg does a great job, and there is a great deal of knowledge that he has that is going to take someone else years to obtain. So I would not, unless his price continues to jump insanely, I would not be in favor of switching. I'd be in favor of staying, right?
I would agree with trustee Cronin's statements, at the finance and HR committee. We had a discussion about that, agreed wholeheartedly with that. The reason for using RFPs was, I believe we contracted with Greg 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. He was not the cheapest, he wasn't the most cost effective, he does a great job for us. But the idea was, we've got some budget shortfalls, and we could maybe look, if he is within $1,000, it probably doesn't matter, right? But if he's $20,000 more than a different guy, maybe we could look at, do the cost benefit analysis on that. But the idea was to continue his contract through this reassessment period, so we're not getting somebody else involved and get that all jazzed up. And then, but include in the motion to, we are gonna get another number for 25, or after the 25 season, or in the 25 season, for moving forward, just so that we can bring that back for budgetary numbers.
Well, yeah, I guess at finance, we definitely have, recommended that we extend this contract by 1 year. But then, because it has been quite a while, and I agree with you, I think Greg does one heck of a job, and I can't see switching. But to give us an idea what the price ranges are, I don't think, he's way off base or anything, but it is always good to kind of look at what somebody else is doing. You gotta remember, got a wealth of knowledge that somebody new coming in isn't gonna have.
Shane?
You know, sometimes you say, we pay some extra money. But we change and we bring somebody new. That money we save and then we're gonna pay for training. Because there is no way in the world they can pick up everything and carry the process and move on.
Greg, I totally agree with you. The money we would save moving away from Greg would be, I think it'd be incredible. I actually think that we're never gonna find another direction. I still can't believe his demeanor, I can't believe the way he handles, the residents. He is phenomenal, and I've got a cousin in the business, and I would take Greg Schmidt every single day over my cousin. And if you're listening to me, Steve, I'm sorry. Anyway. Okay, enough, what?
Okay, I'm just gonna say, if this doesn't get the motion to, go out for RFPs,
We can pick which one.
I was gonna ask that, do we have to go with those better?
No, we
Okay.
cannot, no. Okay, so hearing no more discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Discussion and or action on 2025 budget process. Are we done? No, with the budget process.
oh,
We talked about it, finance and HR, with that new committee dividing the process slightly, so finance and HR would take care of putting forth to the board payroll and benefit items, but the board would handle the rest of the general budget and the budgeting process. So only payroll and benefit items would go to the finance and HR committee.
How's that change?
Before, it
Jim
was
has his hand up. Hand up, please. Go ahead. Just or reach for candy. Go ahead.
Where are they?
Over here.
So in finance, that was absolutely discussed. We also looked at the budget shortfalls that we have for upcoming for 25, include EMS fire, safer, and we're trying to look at alternate avenues of generating revenue. We've got some unapproved space here. We've got some other underutilized parcels in the village that have the opportunity to generate revenue. And we created with the seat. It was recommended by the Finance and HR Committee to recommend to the Board of Trustees to terminate the lease with the town of Weston. In the best interest of the taxpayers of Weston. At the rate that it's at, but needs to be reevaluated and relooked at. But to try and, I mean, it's not gonna close the $1 billion shortfall that we have, but a little bit help.
We, there's the rules, have at it. Well, you can start throwing stuff, you can start throwing stuff at each
Hang on a
other.
second, this is speculative, but I do think that we should, I'm just being honest, I think we use the meeting. I'm just curious, what is there some specific parcels in the village?
Just, the idea was to look at everything, so right now, the town of Weston, their lease agreement is for $3,900 annually, includes, all the CAM maintenance, right, so snow plowing, grass cutting, heat, lights, we pay their phone, we pay their IT, we pay their Microsoft 365 subscription, all that stuff for $3,900 a year. It's been adjusted for inflation, it didn't verify that actually matched the inflation numbers, but I'm sure Jessica's on that. But it's like $4,600 or $4,400, it's, they're paying annually what they should pay monthly.
Is that at David Road, correct?
Right.
That's the only spot, you're not referring to anywhere else in the town of Weston, just.
No, to look at all spots.
Okay.
So if they were to leave there, now do we have X number of square feet in that building that we could do something with, please, or generate revenue for the municipality? We've got this unused space above the boardroom. Put a tenant, the village attorney move in here, should I do there? To generate revenue.
No pressure, you sure we're there then?
He just moved.
Yes. Look at all avenues that we have, any way to generate revenue.
Next.
Yes, we already, well, we mentioned that it is our property, we can lease it to them, yes. And in addition to that, for 2025 budget, I think the other conversation is we're gonna need to start meeting for 2025 budget. So they won't be joint finance and board meetings like they've been in the past, they would just be board meetings, but they might be in an extended period of time because we would need to meet solely about just budget. I think in the past, we've had 4 additional separate meetings. The last one being that approval, which is usually either the right before or the week of Thanksgiving. Jessica, was there anything else I forgot we want to talk about? We're good, Mr. President, and go on.
All right.
When you make the motion to go into closed session, because we didn't have enough people present to go into closed session, the second closed session item can be taken off of the agenda this evening because finance and HR did not take action on it.
Okay. So the second one.
The second, the 1985 1C.
One C, okay.
Mr. All right, Chair, point of order, could we discuss that pending, HR and finance approval? So it's not just stalled out. If the board approves or whichever, or denies action on that, pending approval from the finance department. Already here, it's already noticed.
But we would be approving something.
I would prefer to have human resources.
Yeah.
That is the purpose of
We
having.
gotta give them,
Yeah, very well.
all right, moving into, closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stat 19.85, parent 1, parent G, conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or likely to become involved with. Marathon County case number 2022-CB-426. Marathon County case number 2018-CB-119. Marathon County case number 2024-CB-544. Need a motion?
So,
By Ermeling, second by Hardinger. Roll call vote, please.
Maloney,
Yes.
Cronin,
Yes.
Ermeling,
Yes.
Hardinger,
yes.
Pincinel.
Yes.
Wyland, Sagami.
Yes.
We're in closed session. Session now? And now we gotta go back to 41. Should I just do that now, or there's really nothing to approve, nothing there, so. Just go back to 41 here, Matt. Discussion and or action on attorney referral to review tourism entity agreement with CDD village ordinances in the process tied to the 5/20/24 Tourism Commission meeting. What do we want here? My
So we went over it at the tourism meeting,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
just, if there were questions from the board specifically, that we had Attorney
Okay.
Edie here to answer. I could give just the brief update that the tourism commission talked about setting out a doodle poll to set up a different meeting, to have a dedicated time to talk about how they would like to make the ordinance, and the agreement consistent.
So that would be before the October tourism meeting.
Depending on when the doodle poll come back out.
Okay. And one of the questions that came up was the approval because of a timing issue. Right now stands with the chairman of the commission, the president of the board, and the administrator. Should we remove one? Especially that I am, or somebody could be one and the same.
Well, I would, have the commission determine whether what their approval process,
Oh, okay,
What
so
they
I have to
want-
go back to the commission.
what they want
Okay.
the approval process to
All
be, and then I
Yep.
would just amend the agreement based on whatever they decide.
And then we could also put in, it had to be prior to a vote.
And that would have to be approved by the board because you're amending the agreement.
Right.
too.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I think, if I remember in your report, you said it was approved by the board. The commissioner has to approve the grant or whatever is there. Not by the president, not by administrator, the full commissioner has to approve it. Am I correct?
Well, there was an internal rule that in the minutes said that the commission created a rule that said that they were going to decide all approvals. So I think Keith Downer put together a presentation and gave the commission 3 options. And the option that they chose was to decide themselves whether the grant was approved or not. But then that was not carried over into the agreement, so you've got an agreement that has a different process than what the internal rule was. And the commission was a part of that agreement too, so that just creates, an ambiguity. What is the rule? Was the rule revoked when they entered into an agreement with a different process? So we can fix it. The commission just needs to fix it, and then we should amend the agreement so it reflects what the commission's decision-making process is gonna be.
I thought that the agreement was home written. They write it themselves and they just run it through the system. It wasn't written by attorney, I don't believe so. At least that's what I was told.
Steve?
Can I get some clarification? So is there 2 accounts, 3? Because I see in your to-do list here, you talk about the village, the CDD general tourism account, which is 45%. But then there's the account that that this board itself has control over. So is there another one, or is it just those 2 accounts?
The 3 accounts.
So how does that work?
There's a 30% that the village has control over, you can do anything with.
And that's our tourism.
That's your
board.
30%.
No, that's right to Jessica, she can use it anywhere.
Oh, so that's
She normally puts it into a pot.
okay.
So that's the 30% by state statute, so we get the tax and spend.
Okay.
And then 70% is supposed to go to tourism promotion development that puts people in hotel rooms in the village.
But 45% of that goes to, of that 70% goes to the
But
CVB.
that's what we agreed on.
Correct,
We're the
I understand.
highest, but the next one closest to us is 40, and there's several at 37.5.
I understand, so
Yes.
just follow, I'm just trying to make sure I have my head wrapped around this. So, but the 45%, because I see here that it says, you want to require the commission approval before the spending of any Weston dollars. So right now, what is that money being spent on? Marketing?
Well, I'm talking
And
about,
salary.
I'm just asking.
so I'm talking about
There's no building.
what our ordinance says right now.
Sure.
You know, our ordinance says, and our ordinance is consistent with state law. See, the twist in all of this is that you can have a tourism zone if you want. If everybody in our community agrees that we're a single destination location for purposes of people outside coming here, then there should be only one zone. It should include all the municipalities with one commission that is control over all the money in that zone. And so the local municipalities, Wausau, Mosinee, for sure, I talked to them, they did not want to do the zone back when everyone had issues with the CVB. And so everyone has their own commission. So if we have our own commission, then really our money should be, that we get from our Weston Hotel should be invested in tourism activities that put people in Weston hotels.
And you're referring to that 45% that right now they can do whatever they want with.
They are doing it.
Right. So what it looks like the community did is they said, well, we are kind of a zone. So let's put some money in an account that we can use for more zone-related tourism draw. And because that's going to help all of us as well. And so I wasn't sure how I thought that that's where the money was going for some of the bigger events, but apparently the money there is going for their, all of the marketing they do just to the general area, the handouts, the publications, things like that. It probably, a lot of it goes to their overhead too.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have to run their business,
So that 45 could go to 40, and then our 25 would go to 30. Right now, I don't believe they're in a building, right?
CDB.
Do you believe the CVB is in a building,
I
Jessica?
don't think so.
I don't think they are either. I don't know where Jody works. But
There's
I
no
thought they were
place,
in a space.
what?
they don't have office,
Right. So they're not paying rent.
Yeah.
no.
So that
As a
rent
matter
is,
of fact, that's what was one of my, you should have a home, you should have a
well,
place to go.
he thought he would get a hold from all of us. He wanted $100,000 from us to build a building on
Yeah.
Shakey's.
Yeah, they'll show you.
But he hired a gal from, an assistant in Point, and her deal is she doesn't have to come to work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when Jody still talked to me, she was very upset with some of the stuff going on. I've got a few more phone calls to make, that's a different story.
They sold the shake.
Yep.
So, right now,
They bought it, and now they sold it, yeah,
Right.
I know.
right now, there's no office, they don't have office.
And we're getting complaints from Yi Song on the involvement of the CVB with his Hmong festival. And, I've got a couple of people that have reached out and said that it's just not, they're not helping with the events. All they wanna do is the social, the grass, the multimedia, that kind of stuff. And he protects it. I mean, when I asked Jody about if we get any of that 45%, he was readily saying, no, I don't wanna. I'm not.
Well, do you get information about where their money goes? I mean, their overhead, how do they pay, how much
Do
do
we
they
get
pay?
a monthly budget or expenditure sheet, right? Okay, so only once, 4 times a year. Cause I've asked him questions on salaries and he avoids the
says that
question.
you want something, you gotta ask for it.
Yeah,
So
he
you
avoids
don't
the
ask
question on
for it.
salaries, yeah.
They used
we
to
need to
send
ask.
out confidential financial statements, but I don't think they were.
I can give you the financial statement monthly, because that's what I get.
Yeah, it is monthly.
I would
but
like
we're
to
not
see that
getting it.
come to the
I
tourism
can-
board.
It should come to the tourism board, and Ryan Vanderwall at Rothschild is trying to have a meeting with them. Because, and he has not talked to them, I think, in 8 to 10 months. And he just completely, he pulled their name off of everything, and I said, that's not the way you're gonna get them back into the fold. So, they're pretty upset. They really are. I'm sorry, Barb.
Yeah, I guess, I wouldn't have a problem bringing our, that, what is it, 45%?
Yeah.
Dropping that down and putting it in to
Our
our
account, yeah.
25%, adding it on there, because that is just Weston, you know, activities.
Well, we tried to do it one time and it didn't fly.
Well, yeah,
But
because
that's
he
all right.
really cried.
Yeah, well, yeah, he
but
definitely does.
I have, you know, I mean, there's gotta be expenses that they gotta cover, and I mean, it's,
Well, then Wausau should pay you more than 37.5%.
well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
bring ours back down and put that excess in what is considered our account.
And one more quick, Jim, so Jessica, so Jody gives us the ones that they're kind of approving. I mean, and I was talking to Jeannie about this, should not we see even the ones that they're saying no to?
But that's what.
We
so
should,
been talking about
we
a
should
lot.
see what's going on, who's asking for money.
Yeah.
And they're saying no.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way the contract is.
We really didn't want it.
I know, we didn't want
We
it.
don't want it, finance, we don't, that's
Ye-
a lot more, and we're not interested in tourism.
Well-
That is why
Yeah.
originally we the finance committee decided that the CVB could have 100% say, because you're asking us accountants who should get money for tourism. So that's why the finance committee was assigned CVB responsibility, and we kind of pushed it to CVB. So when they redid the contract, we took a little bit back.
So, and prior to that even, I swear to God, I'll get to you, staff primarily was saying where the money was going. You know, with, probably Dean Zuliger or, yeah. I just remember that there was some really heavy attachments to, what's the Italian one that,
Irish Fest.
Irish Fest. And who was the restaurant? Say the restaurant. That's
Jim
now,
Daly.
yeah, Jim Daly, yeah, it's now gone now. But, and when I found out they were getting $10,000 or $20,000 and no reports coming back or nothing, plus we're out there putting the seats up and the stands up. I thought, are you kidding me? Now, what if we get a German, a Polish, and a Yugoslavian, a Russian, and China fest? We're gonna say no to those, so, but it was so personal for the staff, they just shouldn't have been involved, and that's what Jessica's kind of referring to is. So really, at a commission level like this, it is what it is, so, Jim, I'm sorry.
So a couple things, one, that 45-25, I believe, or.
It's
45,
30 for anything, 25 for Weston, 45 for them.
Correct, so the 45-25 split is in the contract with CVP, we can negotiate that to whatever we want, right?
Well, he says we have to be over 35% to them, or 37.
So
He says there's a state statute, but I don't
No,
believe it.
you don't have any obligation to.
I don't think so either.
To use them, you could,
Okay.
you could use those in the chamber of commerce. Or
And that's who Rothschild is using.
yeah, so that's my second part of this is, it was my understanding of the tourism commission, we don't have to renew with the CVP or stay with them, we can find somewhere else.
Yep.
So if our 35% or whatever we change the number from 45 and lessen it, so more of the dollars stay back here, that we have control over. If they don't like that, we don't have to stay with them, we have other options, so I don't think we should stay with them at 45%. We don't think there's a good value for the dollar.
I agree. Well, we don't even know.
We
where-
don't even need to wait till it expires.
When they're cherry picking through.
Yeah, okay,
Well-
whichever one, yeah.
I brought the issue at the meeting,
So, go ahead.
I brought the issue up at the meeting and I said, why Village of Weston has to pay more than the rest of the other community? And everybody agreed with me, we shouldn't. We should pay as much as percentage wise. As much percentage was the same as everybody else.
And he promised me a year ago that he was gonna get everybody up to our level, and he did not.
He's not gonna.
Nobody's gonna move.
Right, but he's gonna drop us or he's gonna make an adjustment to that. So, but also, remember, if we separate, then everybody fall apart. Now we are a group, as a group, we are stronger.
Well, the hoteliers want a group, they want something together,
Yes,
but they also want, you know, something that's happening. Who is this gal with the Wausau events, Abby? Ally, she was sitting there behind Tim when I was questioning him 2 times ago. And she was just shaking her head almost violently, no, like it's not working, it's not working. I'm trying to reach out to her and find out what she's hearing or seeing on Wausau events. Steve?
I'll echo with Shane's comments, but the other thing I'd like to bring up is on your to-do list, Matt, you have an item here. It says number 4, clarify that the Weston Commission Room tax account is only to be used for events in Weston that will fill up with Weston hotels first. So when it comes to that, I see it both ways, right? Because when you're part of a group, you have to look, I mean, there are events that don't happen in Weston that definitely generate hotel stays here in Weston. I mean, the other thing you have to remember too, and I don't know, everybody here is probably a little bit different, but when you go to a destination, Disney World, Universal, you're gonna stay there. But when you're just going to an area, me, I hop on a travel apps and then I go, who has the cheapest hotel? And then I look at the reviews. So just because an event's happening in Wausau doesn't mean that we're not gonna generate hotel stays down here from that event. So while I understand your point in clearing up some things in the ordinance, I don't know that needs to be a catch-all, is that the event needs to happen in Weston for them to get funding from us. And maybe someone disagrees or has a different idea, but that's just my thought.
But you,
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry, but Matt also states that, if they occur outside the village, but the size of the event will generate some overnight stays at hotels in Weston, the CBD should consider awarding Weston dollars from the CBD general fund.
See, that's where I've never got, I mean, there should be, you could divide it up really into 3, 3 batches, take the 30% out and just talk about the 70%. So you're paying the CVB money for their overhead to assist with their destination, magazines, whatever they're generating to try to drive traffic to the area in general, okay? Whatever that amount is, fine. What is it? Clarify it so you know how much you're paying them for that, how it's all divided up between their overhead, their photocopy machine, or whatever they're doing, and have that that pocket, okay, and then have one that would be money that you're giving the community, all right, for those big events that you're talking about. So Weston will give some of our money from the general tourism account for something in Wausau if it's likely to fill Weston hotels too. And then have your Weston account just for Weston, and just spend it to try to drive activities in Weston that are gonna fill up your hotels, have people go to Weston restaurants, use Weston facilities, go bowling, whatever, because they're here. And I think that's how I would look at it is, okay, have your Weston only, because that's really where, you're getting the taxes from your hotel stays here. And you can benefit not only your hotels, but your restaurants and all your other businesses here if you can drive people to this area for an activity. So that really should be the focus of the Weston dollars, and then the general tourism dollars, be a team player with everybody else. And when there's a big event in Wausau that's gonna put people in Weston, give them money from the general account. That's what I would think it would be for. And then you're also helping together with everyone else for all the destination literature and part of the overhead of CVB. So you need somebody like CVB because somebody's got to be able to generate all that destination literature and the marketing that they're talking about doing. But the question is, how much is a reasonable amount to pay them for that compared to all the other communities that are using their services and benefiting from their work too? Does anybody from Wausau or Rothschild or Schofield or any of our neighbors, Rib Mountain, did any of them give their Rib Mountain money or their Wausau money to an event that takes place in Weston?
Rib Mountain's a little tighter. Wausau is actually 2. And Rothschild's not involved. In Schofield, I would bet keeps all of theirs too. They only have 1 hotel. But now that's gonna change with the Green Act Turner bill.
But I mean, I do like, even though I talked earlier that if anything would be challenged, what we do, it's giving money away for the general tourism stuff, because one of our hotel owners here could say, you can't give that money for that event over there because we're not going to see anyone, at our hotel for that kind of an event, and they could object to it. And, not that that's gonna happen, but I do like the team approach that you came up with, where you're getting some money, you know, for the benefit of the whole, because people do come here, and they, you know, they come here because they know it's a great area, but, you know, it is one area generally, I mean, it is. So for people outside.
Yeah, even though they call it Wausau, well, and then having Marriott here from Fairfield, that's, I mean, they're part of what, 5, 6 hotels, Dorsey. You know, so that's, I think we're gonna get more information out of that group and hear more of what's going on than just the one Holiday Inn.
All these hotel and motel, they support the organization.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
And the reason for, right now, Rothschild is not part of it, but all the 4 hotels they have in their portfolio, they all come to me.
Yeah.
And they've been at the meeting and they want to be part of it, just because when he advertised, or he talk about the Wausau, greater Wausau area, they want to be part of it. Now, there's certain people that come for event in Wausau, but they're gonna stay in Holiday Inn, because that's where they stay all the time.
Well, there's food out there, there's
So-
stuff to do, yeah.
There is a lot in there, there is a lot of voltage of it. You think when you push Rothschild to try to go back.
He won't even talk to him, he won't, in fact, he took.
No, I mean, the hotels.
Well, they probably do, so.
Where is this literature? Like, where you get your hands on it? I mean, I only have it because I went to the town hall meeting. So they don't have a destination, so they don't have a home. So where are they getting this literature? I mean, the literature is
Tim is
great,
gonna tell you
but
it's all social.
I only
media.
have
It's
it in
all
my
social.
home is because of town hall.
And I mean, when we went through, Jamie and I sat on that, when we brought this, it's been going on for a while now, we're kind of questioning where they get their information, and some of the statistics they come back with us, like where this came from, and like, because I mean, a lot of this you get through Google Analytics. I mean, you should do more, I mean, you look at some of variations that they have and what's coming in there, and they're not even really giving you very clear statistics on where this is coming through, and I mean, it's just, we need to really start questioning this.
Oh, this Artigo.
Yeah, remember all that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is.
Yeah, all right, let's finish up. You think?
So where, I guess, where, does this come back here, or is this something that the tourism board?
It's gotta go to tourism first, and then when tourism kind of gets it, then the board will do some approvals with the ordinances, I believe, right?
We're gonna do that to do this.
Yeah, I think I would give it to the commission first, to just give, you know, like you do the planning commission, okay? Let them look at it first, and then come to you. You guys ultimately are the decision makers when it comes to the ordinance and with the general direction of where we're headed.
I understand that there has to be a doodle poll, so no, but my hope is that would happen before October. I don't feel like this is something that should just
it's gotta happen.
I mean, there should almost be, I almost feel like that until this is resolved, there should be monthly meetings at tourism.
So can I make a suggestion? I mean, I don't know if this is way on the ordinary, but there's 4 elected people on the tourism commission. They're gonna know best on how to handle this thing, and they're gonna have this meeting on it. Is there any way that we as a board can just give a green light to go with whatever they're gonna decide? So it doesn't have to come back to us?
No, it's got.
Well, if there's 4 elected, I mean, you've got a quorum right
Well,
there.
I know, but we wanna include everybody.
Well, I'm not trying to disinclude everybody. Maybe we make a special meeting following that meeting to just get this done. Why wait another month on it?
Why couldn't we just do the third, Monday in September?
Well, that would be when finance and tourism would otherwise, so it could be a meeting before the board meeting.
Yeah, we got 2 meetings before tourism, yeah. We could have a special meeting for.
Well, I just didn't know if you wanna do.
How many meetings do we have a year?
75.
36.
We almost had 100.
It's 36.
We almost had 142, but we still have just 7.
For me,
I'm counting them.
So I'm gonna call the question for adjournment.
There's no motion on the floor, so.
Motion to adjourn.
No, well, I think
Can we finish the agenda, please, Mark?
Second. Oh,
I'm Matt.
So, any attorney referrals?
Mark wants one of these.
No attorney referrals, any administrative referrals?
Yes. I make a very first one.
well, technically it's staff referrals for tonight. That's not.
No, we changed. It's administrative referrals, and if we could get just a star or something, then we could give Jim for this first one.
I
If you're hungry, grab a Snickers.
I would agree, I think it is technically still staff referral.
Well, we changed it,
Change it, yeah. Can we please update the format in the alcohol and tobacco license chart to recount the metropolitan meeting? That's shown on page 156 of the packet.
We can do that.
And then, so would this be the appropriate place to formally request, from the CVB financial statements, reports, budgetary numbers, salaries, et cetera, that come through tourism?
Noted.
Nothing further.
Any other step referrals? Jamie, did you hand up?
No, I just have some recommendations for you, things.
Are you gonna, under remarks? Any staff referrals?
No.
Or administrative referrals? Okay. Now, remarks from trustees. Remarks? Remarks.
I have some suggestions for the newsletter wire, and I don't know if this is already in the works, but maybe planning and development can make a list of new businesses, and line with addresses. I mean, I drive by and I don't know what's going on. Pictures of the playground equipment, before and after. Dog park closed date. Pet finder posts out from the Humane Society,
Except for mice.
except
Kill them, kill all of them.
Yeah, why?
No, you're not killing them, you're using them.
No, just kill them, burn them.
pet treats.
Okay.
And the last session of swim lessons and TNVR.
And what? What's last?
Trap litter vaccine.
Oh, okay. But, okay. All right, any more remarks? Remarks?
I would just like to say that I know that we all have disagreements here.
Not me.
But
Speak for yourself, yeah.
I think we all do a good job, and the political climate lately in this country as a whole, leading up to this last weekend, is terrible. But there's no place for violence. And I know this may not be the place to say that, but there's been a lot of really rude comments out there lately, and it does not matter what side of the aisle you sit on, it shouldn't be out. That's it, I just wanted to say that.
No, I talked to the administrator. There was a talk about the money we're spending on the parks, on the equipment, and people think that's a tax money. I think we should.
Understand what?
Yeah, well,
I'm sorry?
he's bringing up that there's some commotion out there with, what we're spending on the parks. And Jim and I talked about this actually last Wednesday, it's Mike Mullen. So Mike Mullen is you aren't gonna change his mind, if you really wanna try to help here, let's just 2 or 3 of us go down to McDonald's when he's holding court down there, and we can have a talk. He's emailed me a few times.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not talking about that.
Oh, cool.
This was a group in the Kennedy Park, they had one of those power party. That's what the talk was in there, and my daughter Amira was there. And right after the meeting, she called me, she said, you guys better educate these people, where is this money coming?
Yeah.
And I explained to her.
Maybe with those pictures,
Yep.
you can
Weston, where-
create
That
something.
is ARPA.
How Jim
It's not tax, it's not their money.
suggested putting those playground equipment on an auction.
Oh.
We didn't use our manpower
Yeah.
along with,
What we did.
the ARPA funds that we used.
But Mike is the one that really is pushing it, and if you look at next door, which, is there a way we can get rid of that? Apparently we can't.
Just don't go on social media.
Yeah, I don't go on
I
social
don't
media, but that's where Mike Mullen is all the time on Nextdoor and at McDonald's. And Fred Schuster calls me at least every other week about something Mike Mullen said. And then I'll tell him the truth, and then Fred doesn't wanna go back and tell Mike that. Who is this Mike? You seem to know, but you just know from social. Who is he? Was he retired? Funny.
Lives right down.
Where are we? That's retired this way.
Tell him to come in.
I love it. I told him, I offered, come on in.
I think he was on the meeting.
He emailed me one time.
Oh, hey, hold it, my fault here. We're got some marks. See, this is my problem. We're going to 11:30, you're done, your remarks are done. Your remarks are done, you passed. So now it's my turn, and my small one is my remarks. And any future items, anybody? We can take this out of agenda. No, next meeting date is Monday, August 19th, 2024, 6 p.m. I feel that I've got to, drive this harder. So now I'm waiting for a motion to adjourn. Did I hear you make that motion? So Hardinger makes a motion to adjourn, second by Cronin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried at 9:22, we are adjourned. Walk away
Jamie.
as long as you want.
Yes.